The Earth is in ruin with a big cloud of stinky farts covering the land and a deadly virus destroying what's left of humanity. But above the stinky cloud is me, dominating the skies with the help of this purple dingus named Bingus. To complete 100%, I'll need to save the world, or perhaps make things even worse, and knock over all 20 Steam achievements in the process. And most importantly, I'll be designing a very delicious airship. This video is sponsored by Far From Home, the developers of Forever Skies, and they just wanted me to let you know 1.0 is out now. You can play solo or co-op with up to 4 people. Click the link below to purchase. Other than that, they gave me access to an early build of the 1.0 update and let me loose to enjoy my playthrough. So without further ado, welcome to 100% of Forever Skies. 2060-37 Space Station Ark, the last bastion of humanity. It begins as I prepare to launch from the space station, and apparently I was carrying a virus that was already beginning to take over my body. Oh, I'm dying already. That's not a good start. I was returning to a post-apocalyptic Earth, following in the footsteps of a previous expedition which had been lost. My goal was to track them down and find a cure. As I entered Earth's atmosphere, some weird glitchy nonsense took over, and communication with the space station was lost, but soon I was through, enjoying some lovely rain. All good survival games start with a crash landing. Oh. I don't know what that was about, but I did indeed appear to be having a bumpy ride, and soon enough I had crash landed. It seemed I was on a dilapidated building. I grabbed this family photo and read this datapad which highlighted that I was the last hope for humanity. No pressure. I aggressively shot the doors off my pod and ventured out to gaze upon the remnants of Earth. Is that a flying animal or is that a bit of debris? Oh. That's definitely debris. Earth doesn't look like it's in the best shape. There seemed to be quite a haze in the air, and all of these skyscrapers looked like they might fall over at any moment. I wandered up here and discovered a dodgy room with a computer that needed powering up, but for that I needed to find a solid-state battery. Machine parts, okay. We're farming up materials already. What is this? I found a datapad from the expedition that had come before me, so I'd successfully made my way to their last known location, and apparently it had all gone to hell for them. I climbed up a little higher and found this power box, from which I yoinked a solid-state battery. I placed it in here to power up the laptop, from which I learned more about the expedition. Apparently 400 years ago, research had been conducted, and they discovered something, perhaps a cure. We came down under Australia? Down under the dust, and we're so close. That's when it all started going to hell. Noah went crazy and started hearing voices. Noah had gone crazy, stolen all their supplies and left on some insane mission. If anyone reads this, beware, this world is not our home anymore. We are not welcome. I continued looking around, collecting whatever I found, including a first aid kit from this locker and this suit printer. You can use the suit printer to craft stuff on the go. Oh, that's a dead? I just realized that's a dead guy, man. Oy. You need a podiatrist. All of the pictures on the wall here were Noah's. As he began hearing voices, he apparently developed a drawing habit. I also found this broken extractor, which I was able to fix with my suit printer and some machine parts. Now I can extract these things? Oh yeah. Ooh. That thing gave me synthetics, and this big sheet of metal gave me some metal, and I picked up anything I saw lying around, too. Getting all sorts of goodies, man. I then worked out I could manually recharge my new extractor. Oh, I gotta recharge it with my little hand pump action. A little bit of kinetic energy in there. Heaps of synthetics and metal. There was an airship parked right there, but I was a little preoccupied obsessively collecting every material I laid eyes on. Pump it up. Pump it up, baby. What is this? What is this big duper wacky? Solid state battery, glass, bunch of synthetics, bunch of metal, getting some empty bottles. What does this say? Someone was building a new airship? They were indeed. How very convenient. It was a little beat up and lacking an engine, but with a bit of hard work, it seemed I'd be able to get it into working condition. Dude, I can deconstruct that entire building? I can deconstruct all this random crap. Let's just go over here first. These duper wackies are batteries. When extracted, they recharged my extractor, saving me from having to pump it up. I guess this was the person who'd been attempting to build the airship, I suppose killed by the illness. In order to repair the airship, I was going to need a bunch of stuff that I had no idea how to get. Thankfully, my predecessor had left a research station behind, which I wasn't able to place down outside here. I had to find a spot for it on my new airship. Insert solid state battery. Bomb. Use research station. It cost me 2 synthetics and 1 metal in order to begin researching the device fabricator. I have no idea how long that's going to take. Oh, it's done already? I next researched the scanner, which cost 3 metals and 3 synthetics, and then the repair patch, which was also a cheap one to research. I then discovered I could make a bunch of stuff with my suit printer. Oh, I can make machine parts out of metal and synthetic compound out of synthetics. That makes sense. I then made as many as I could, which used up all of my synthetics and metals. I was impressed to find I could print the newly researched device fabricator using my suit printer too. Device fabricator? Dude, the suit printer is pretty strong. I feel like my airship is tiny. I was very particular about placing this neatly, but eventually I popped it down here. Whoa! That's a lot of blueprints, dude. Holy moly. Give me the scanner. The scanner can be used to scan, and my first scanning target was this wrecked airship engine, which added some new engine and fuel research options to my research station. I went on a bit of a scanning spree, filling my database with info, and in the process, I found a beautiful poster. Dead guy. Dude, I can scan everything. I think I'm gonna die of thirst. This is Zen Zirin, 47-year-old biologist. I should do something about my water. Water condenser? I made one of those, but it wouldn't let me place it down inside. It needed to be placed on my airship's catwalk. Is this part of my ship, this little bit here? Requires condenser membrane. You can craft those with a device fabricator too, but I had a bit of a problem. Oh, I need synthetics? I used all my synthetics to make synthetic something rather. Am I dead? How am I gonna get synthetics? Have I killed myself already? I scavenged around for more synthetics, but I only found metal. I'd been pretty thorough in my collectathon of the area earlier. I retraced my steps all the way back to where I'd crash landed. Such was my desperation. I found 0 synthetics, and eventually returned to the airship, where I decided life-threatening dehydration wasn't that big of a deal, and instead got busy researching engines and fuel. If I get on the move, I think I might be able to collect some of the floating crap. Craft an engine, craft an engine. I don't have enough synthetic compounds now. And then I finally realized. Wait, can I do this from like really far away? Oh, what the heck? I can do this from like 1,000,000 kilometers away. Why did I assume I couldn't? There we go, now we're moving. Sometimes I describe myself as a goose on the loose a little bit too liberally, but that was definitely goose on the loose behavior. I probably just procrastinated for 10 minutes for no reason. Those tangles of plasticky crap floating out there had given me plenty of synthetics, so I quickly made some condenser membrane. Condenser membrane goes on there. That'll begin collecting water from the environment, I suppose. And then I need a water purifier. I made one of those out of machine parts and synthetic compound, which are the refined versions of metals and synthetics. I thought it was enormous for a second there, but it's, you know, it's big enough. The condenser collected dirty water rather quickly, so I was able to scoop it up into an empty bottle I'd found, and before long I'd plopped 2 units of water into the purifier. Use repair patch. Oh. Okay, I repaired that. Repair that as well. Repair that as well. Simple insect lure. We're gonna lure insects with some bright colors, I think. Chuck the simple insect lure in there, and that's gonna catch some moths for me. The purifier had worked its magic, but I didn't have an empty bottle because I'd scooped up more dirty water into my solitary beverage receptacle. Oh damn it, I just drank it. How do I empty it? I figured I should just make another bottle, rather than drinking dirty water until I pooped my liquid guts out. So I had another collection spree because the floating bounty of trash had helpfully regenerated. Once I had enough synthetics, I used my suit printer to make another bottle. Bottle clean water. Add dirty water. Finally, I was able to address my great thirst in a healthy manner. Okay, I'm no longer thirsty. That is something. I discovered the condenser membrane was now used up after collecting 5 units of dirty water from it, so I'd have to craft another one to collect more. Lower lure. Oh, there we go. I forgot to lower the lure. Now it's fishing. It's fishing for a moth. I can do this whole giant metal thing. And that was only 6 metals. The insect lure was now aggressively wiggling, so I reeled that bad boy in. Whoa! Dust lettuce. Craft the electric cooker. I need more synthetic compounds. This is crazy. There's a synthetic compound. Electric cooker. Alright, we're moving. I need to collect a lot of stuff, dude. Give me that crap. Give me that crap. Give me that crap. I soon had the rice cooker placed down, in which I began cooking up some dusty sky lettuce. Boil that lettuce, man. I love boiled lettuce. So delicious. I lowered the insect lure again, and I still thought it was hilarious I'd caught some lettuce. We might catch another lettuce. The dust lettuce was soon boiled, so I grabbed that and ate it to enjoy the benefits of plus 15 health and plus 15 food, and I reeled in my second insect catcher victim too. I caught a dust moth this time. I felt a little bit diabolical boiling a dust moth alive, but you've got to do what you've got to do when the whole world's gone to poop. Meanwhile, I'd placed another membrane on the condenser, so my water supply was growing too. Got another delicious lettuce. Okay, but my lure is now gone after 3 catches, I think. So I'd have to regularly make insect lures and condenser membranes in order to stay on top of food and water. It can cure some diseases. Why did I say 1 day, 23 hours? Oh, it spoils? Food does indeed spoil and go rotten, but this boiled moth went straight into my gob, and I was no longer quite so hungry. When I extracted this big lattice of metal scaffolding, I received an interesting achievement. Make a ruin collapse by extracting its... Oh dear. My heart yearned for it to collapse more dramatically than that, but it was good to knock over my first achievement. Make a ruin collapse
You love to see it.
I had a session collecting floaties while continuing to make food and water, and it felt good to have systems in place to ensure I had infinite sustenance. I then turned my attention to making an engine, and after a bit of crafting, I had one printed. It cost a few synthetic compounds and machine parts, and before long I was placing it down on the edge of the catwalk. I then put up the poster I'd found.
I don't know if that's a good spot for it.
I made synthetic fuel out of synthetics, and chucked that in the engine, and suddenly I was ready to depart, so I stepped up to the helm and fired up my ship.
Just like... fly your airship for the first time. Alright, so we're going 13 k's an hour in I don't know what direction, this way?
I'd pushed the speed up as fast as it would go, and then locked it there so I could hop off the controls and collect materials as I floated along. I then noticed my updated quest.
Fly to a location with a single flashing light.
I spotted a flashing light off that way, but there was also a jumble of metal poking up here that looked like it deserved a visit.
Alright, park here. If I hop out, am I going to hurt myself? Wait, I thought I was closer. Is that Noah's weird symbols?
I gently landed my airship on this round landing pad thingo, and as I did so, a database entry popped up informing me this was a ruined greenhouse tower, where I would apparently be able to find these resources. I collected some silicon from the solar tower over there before heading out to see what I could find. I found glass panels, which I extracted to collect my first bits of glass. I found an old can of water, and I found a data pad.
Too damn high. Cost of rent? Are we talking about the cost of rent?
Absolutely. This data pad also mentioned a giant natural barrier had grown nearby somewhere, as if nature was trying to protect itself from something. From this computer here, I received some new research options.
Balloon expansion and metal wall. Look at this. Look at this madness. What is going on over there? Huh? Is my ship being attacked by moths?
After a quick scan, I confirmed it was indeed a moth swarm, and I don't know what they were trying to do.
I'm scared the moths are gonna eat me, dude.
I made my way into this container here, where I found my first ever basic research parts, and some fuel too, and with that I'd sucked up all the goodies this area had to offer.
Boing. Oh, that was risky, maybe. Oh, and you use the basic research parts to do these researches, okay.
I researched balloon expansion and then the airship builder before taking flight and zooming off in the direction of the flashing light over there. I collected as I went and soon arrived at a wind farm location, and it immediately offered up a new resource, a lovely cheese triangle of copper. I extracted it, of course.
We got some copper, baby.
There were some copper elements lying around too, which I also grabbed.
We got a bunch of moths being idiots again. Go away, moths.
There really was an abundance of copper on offer.
So much copper.
And I scanned this broken turbine, which unlocked the ability to research the basic turbine.
Increases the flight altitude of the airship.
I researched the rainwater collector, which had randomly appeared as a research option when I discovered this location, and I continued sucking up delicious resources. I learned that every time I yoinked the silicon from one of these solar towers, they fell down.
Whoa.
And I'd already looted everything from this lower area of the wind farm, so I attempted to fly up to the larger area above. But as the weather took a turn, I realized something.
I don't think I can fly higher. I cannot. I need to research the basic turbine.
It was raining, so I rushed to craft a rainwater collector, which I plonked down here to begin suckling at the skies.
Collect that rain. I need a transformer. How the heck do I get a transformer, bro?
So I needed a turbine in order to upgrade my ship so that it could fly higher, but I needed a transformer to make a turbine. I made some electric elements, hoping crafting it might unlock the transformer research option, but no, though it did help me learn how to craft solid-state batteries. As I made my first one of those, I was warned a flying creature was approaching my airship.
A flying creature approaches the airship.
Am I in danger? Oh, what is that? Oh! How do I... Get out of here.
I decided to scan it first for science, and then I began extracting the chunks of synthetic materials attached to its body.
No. No. It's got a bunch of crap attached to it. Oh, goodness gracious. Can you guys go away too?
That was a lovely lady I affectionately named Stinky, the Scrapwing Hatchery, and she really wanted to eat my ship, but once I tore away the comfort of the trash stuck to her body, she flopped away in embarrassment at her nudity.
I think this red light might be at the right level for me, whereas this blue light is too high.
It didn't seem like I was going to be able to craft a transformer, so I figured I'd go see if I could find one. It goes without saying by this point, I collected stuff as I went, and I had to be a little bit careful about avoiding flying straight into stuff when locking my speed, because my airship didn't have an autopilot. All I could do was lock it into zooming off in one direction for eternity. Luckily, no crashes just yet. My scanner was getting low on battery, so I researched the tool charger, and once that was done, the research station ran out of battery, so I whacked the solid-state battery I'd crafted in there, and next researched metal walls. Turns out I needed a transformer to make a tool charger too, so I hopefully explored this location.
This guy have his head? No. What is that? Oh, flashlight.
I also scanned a wrecked metal collector, so those scans earned me some great new research options, and I got busy looting too. I found a broken chest here, so I crafted some more repair patches, repaired it, and opened it up.
Hey, Transformers. Isotonic drink. Improved insect lure. Upgrade module. Holy dooly.
Isotonic drinks restore 10 energy, so I drank this one immediately. And it seemed the many locations dotted around the map, like this one, offered up crucial items like research parts. I found some metal collector heads too, and I scanned this wrecked location radar. Lower down, I found a campsite with an interesting data pad.
Everyone is climbing up, no one wants to die. That's understandable. And absolutely infuriating. The apocalypse that... Oh, I get a bunch of dirty water? No. Don't mind if I do. The apocalypse forced everyone to climb upwards, up all the skyscrapers to avoid the toxic air down below.
That is a rather intense fate the people of this world suffered, scrambling up buildings to escape the toxic smog.
Stop war. Well said.
As I scavenged, it became clear that it was about time I came up with a storage solution, so I researched the hanging cabinet. And now that I had some transformers, I used one to make a tool charger. I placed it on the wall, popped my scanner in there, and whacked a battery in, and off it went.
It's charging up real fast, that's good.
I put my family pick here, but I'm not too sure about my placement of the stop war poster.
I feel like the stop war is kind of hanging out.
I researched the location radar, and I used the second transformer to craft a turbine. These things need to connect to the wall of the airship, and my airship had precisely 0 walls, so it was about time I made an airship builder with which to do something about that. I gave it a spin.
Build menu. Room?
Each room costs only 10 metal and 10 synthetics, so I attached 2 to the back of my airship, and suddenly I had almost triple the space. Very nice.
I can only connect rooms to other rooms. I can't have catwalk and then more rooms over there. Flying creature approaches. Go away. Go away, big fella.
I managed to derobe Stinky the scrappling hatchery much quicker this time, and she once again flopped away in shame. My guess was if I didn't scare her off quickly, she'd eat my catwalk. I researched the metal collector, and then I took off with the giant poster blocking my view before removing it in annoyance 5 seconds later. I needed to attend to my hunger, so I did some giant moth catching and boiling, and the glowing dust moths proved to be quite filling once boiled.
70 food? Holy dooly. Delicious. Oh, I got a fat dust moth.
I also researched the flashlight, and it seemed my thorough collecting and scavenging so far meant I mostly had the materials needed to get all this researching done. I think part of the reason I had a decent stock of resources was because I was kind of addicted to zapping stuff as I drifted along. I went past a couple of locations I could have stopped at, but I didn't bother. I fended off Floppy Stinky again, and while I was preoccupied,
I crashed into a big old bramble.
I made a metal collector and placed it hanging off the edge of the catwalk, and I attached a metal collector head onto it, which was immediately lowered to begin using its magnet powers upon all the metal in the dust below.
There we go, it's collecting metal for me.
I also crafted a bed, because as you may have noticed, I was beginning to run rather low on energy. I placed it down in this luxurious spot next to the research station and lay down for a snooze. Soon I awoke with full energy.
Oh dude, I'm getting heaps of metal with this thing.
I continued my research rampage, researching the furniture fabricator, and I got back on the move. I ended up back at one of these locations, because I was looking for another transformer. I looted a bunch of goodies, but no transformer. So I figured I should just go back to the 2 tall wind farm, because I had a turbine now, and it was about time I stopped getting distracted and actually used it. I needed a wall on which to place the turbine though, so I finally built 2 metal walls, which cost a bit of copper, so they felt kind of expensive. But this provided some real estate on which I was able to place the turbine.
Okay, so now I can get a bit higher. Oh, how much higher? Oh, yeah. Quite a bit higher. Go away, idiot. Your ugliness offends me.
After that extreme rudeness to Stinky, I continued on to the flashing light, but I accidentally went to the wrong location. This, my friends, was not the wind farm. I ran out of fuel as I arrived, so I cooked some more up and whacked it in the engine. And while I had managed to go to the completely wrong location, it was actually a good thing because I found a transformer and a motherboard too. Except I somehow still hadn't built any storage on my ship, so I finally placed a hanging cabinet here to make room in my bag, which allowed me to continue looting. And at this particular moment, I figured I could get away with just jumping down instead of using a ladder.
Oh dear. I didn't fall very far.
Yeah, I lost a bunch of stuff, but thankfully I did not lose the transformer. And I found another one, so that was great news. Transformers seem to be a hot commodity. I used one of those transformers to make a location radar and placed it on my windshield.
I've got an exclamation mark over there.
That exclamation mark was highlighting where the quest wanted me to go, so my chances of getting lost again were significantly diminished. Though knowing me, never say never. As you can see, a bunch of other notable locations were marked on the radar too. I repositioned it so that it'd be visible while driving, but not blocking too much of the view. And as I got on the move, I noticed the big thorny natural barrier in the distance.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try and escape higher than those trees over there. But first we gotta go to this exclamation mark, right?
Right you are, sir. And on the way, make sure you zap all the trash in the universe. I'd thought I was heading back to the tall wind farm, and this was indeed a wind farm. However, I think it was a different one because it was mildly entangled. I don't think the last one was entangled.
This one has got crazy bramble action on it.
As I attempted to noodle my way into land, I banged into the brambles and my airship airship took some damage, but I managed to maneuver my way to the edge of the platform. Also, I turned my engine off earlier, and apparently I'd never turned it back on.
This is not on. I've been moving without it? What?
That is how good of a pilot I am. No engine needed, only ran into 1 or 2 brambles. After a snooze, I headed out and began scanning some stuff I'd never come across before, including some helium tanks. And as this was a wind farm, it had plenty of copper on offer. In fact, wind farms were the only source of copper so far, so I made sure to collect all of it. When I saw this broken crate, I of course fixed it and claimed its loot too. I soon had to dump some stuff on the airship to make room in my inventory. Before long, I was picking up the key thing I was after at this location, some tanks of helium. This was quite a large area, so I kept at it and soon found this computer, which unlocked a bunch of airship construction research options, and I found my first ever circuit board. I did some crafting with my suit printer and soon had an on-the-go battery, which I used to power up this door.
Now I can open the door.
There were a few circuit boards back here and some basic research parts. The big lock on this thing here can be broken by a knife or a crossbow, and I had neither of those weapons. And other than that, I was done looting, so I headed off to my next destination. I fought off Stinky, I turned my engine back on because it felt wrong exploiting an infinite fuel glitch, and I enjoyed the lovely scenery. As I drew near to the structure I planned to visit, I realized it was even taller than the wind farm, so I was going to need to figure out how to fly my airship even higher.
Look at those things. That's weird. Is this the garden location?
This is indeed the garden location the quest was sending me towards, and I hoped a second turbine would get my airship high enough to land on it. Turns out, yes, that got me some lift and I was now flying at my current maximum height. I expanded my storage a bit with a second cabinet before investigating.
What's that? Oh, what is that? Wrecked docking plank. Oh, what is this? What is this fungus? Preternatural gnarl.
So there was a little bit of contamination going on, but it didn't stop me as I began my climb. I had information that Noah's hideout was somewhere on this structure, so I was on the hunt for whatever he'd left behind, and hopefully clues as to where he'd gone next on his insane journey. I immediately found something that brought me great joy. This silly goose was wearing a backpack which I was able to scan, unlocking the option to research a backpack upgrade. I think backpack upgrades are my favorite thing in any video game. There were clearly a bunch of large hornet-looking insects flying around here, so it probably would have been wise to not walk straight at them, but guess what I did?
Ow!
Yeah, there's a hive right there.
Caution. A storm is coming.
A storm is coming? Bro, do I need to go hide in my ship? Helium fuel. Holy dooly, that was loud. Lightning is striking.
I'm like a fearful dog, barking anxiously as thunder cracks above. Because look at me go, flying my airship lower in hopes the lightning won't pop my balloon.
Can I research small backpack? I need biomass and polymer. Oh, I can research knife. Since when? I need polymer though.
And these are the airship items I could research so far. This is where you can spend research parts. For now I just researched helium fuel, even though I never crafted any helium fuel, because why would I waste precious helium on fuel when I can make fuel out of abundant synthetics? I also made sure to stay on top of my vitals.
The lightning's scary, man.
And once the storm abated, I flew back up to resume exploring, and I pretty much immediately found the polymer I needed.
Ink bulb seed. Petite astra seed. Polymer.
Those were the first seeds I'd found, indicating there was likely to be some lovely farming exploits in my future. There was some plant oil in these barrels too, and a scan confirmed this was a thorn beehive. I returned to my ship and made a flashlight, I made a bunch more empty bottles, and I researched how to make a knife using the polymer I'd found. But I couldn't actually make one yet because I needed more polymers. When your energy lowers, it reduces the amount of sprinting you can do before getting puffed, which annoyed me. So I slept to restore my energy before continuing my systematic looting of this garden location. I filled my newly crafted bottles with the plant oil, and I realized I could make good use of it.
I can make polymer out of plant oil. Oh.
After a quick crafting session using my suit printer, I made myself a knife.
Boom, about time. And now I can stabby stab. Ooh yeah. Do I go in there like a madman and just stab the beehive? Die beehive.
The moment I bravely defeated the beehive, all of the bees dispersed and the threat was gone, and I looted my first drops of thorn bee honey from the fallen hive. I then remembered I'd made a flashlight, so I turned it on and enjoyed some extra illumination as I looted.
Oh, advanced research part? Getting all the good stuff here. Oh, I've got a knife now. I can do some of these ones. Oof! Whoa, what the? I thought it was some kind of bloody monster because it's so red. Wrecked distiller. Extracts liquids from organic resources.
All of the wrecked machines I was supposed to scan for research purposes were aggressively red, and I was still getting used to that. I turned all the plant oil I was finding straight into polymer, and suddenly I had quite a lot.
It's gonna get me really far ahead in terms of polymer, which I think is gonna be useful. Canola multi-doit?
This data pad had some tips about oil distillation, teaching me I'd be able to get polymer out of canola flowers after a few steps of refinement. I found some green colanders too, which I freed with my knife and claimed. And I think it's fair to say I was finding quite a bounty of new discoveries at this location, not least of all this beautiful flower painting. I could barely explore for 2 minutes before having to return to my ship to dump stuff.
Dude, I've got so much crap already. What is going on? I need more copper. I got barely any copper. What is going on? Research the simple storage rack.
I added another cabinet before ascending again and arriving at a dilapidated greenhouse.
What is going on in here? Wait, what is that? Garden gnome? Now we're getting somewhere. Come with me, little friends.
I felt like it would be rude of me not to claim all of this glass, but there was a lot of flamin' glass. I'd climbed all the way up to the contamination I'd spotted from below, and I tried slashing at it, but to no avail. I continued higher still, and soon laid eyes on some recognizable artwork.
Oh. Is this more of Noah's weird drawings? I think so. Whoa! Whoa! Am I gonna start getting crazy messages? Am I gonna start hallucinating? Getting visions? Biomass fuel. Oh, I'm getting some biomass. Oh yeah.
Noah had a rather impressive garden up here. It was genuinely refreshing to see after the desolate stinkiness of the post-apocalyptic skies. Chopping these vines earned me a few clumps of biomass, and Noah even had an instructive poster about crossbreeding flowers. I needed to power up this computer though, and I lacked batteries.
Potat? Potat? What the heck? Is there a pig? What the heck? What are you?
That was a lulling grass cricket, and it was very rude.
What on earth? Why was it making a big pig noise, man?
These yellow flowered bushes were canola, so I harvested some of those, collecting both flowers and seeds in the process.
Dude, what is going on in here?
I backed off for now and emptied my inventory yet again, and a whole bunch of research options had appeared thanks to all the stuff I'd found, but I had my sights set on upgrading my backpack. I regularly charged my tools, by the way, and poking my head out the window to zap some trash was often necessary.
There we go. Small backpack module, let's go. 5 extra slots is actually great.
I placed my new friends at the front of the ship, and I continued my habit of placing posters on the roof, purely to save storage space. I also boiled some green colander, because why not? I broke my way into this room, where I came close to some nasties.
Direct contact causes injury. Some kind of infestation? Oh, I was supposed to bring a battery with me. I forgot to bring a flaming battery with me.
At this stage, synthetics seemed to be my crafting bottleneck, so I did more floaty zapping before finally returning to Noah's computer with a battery this time.
Alright, batteries in. Check out Noah's computer. Vision. The disease is devastating my body. I feel the end is near. I already died once. Really? Then the voice sent me a vision. It brought me back to life. I must find the cure and bring it to the tree from which a new world will grow and pay off my life debt. I have to get to the virus laboratories. They were built on some kind of special gardens in places like this. They researched the cure there. This is the only way.
Noah was supposedly insane, but by the sound of that, he might actually have been onto something.
Attachments. Coordinates of surface lift location. So down all the way to the ground level. Access unit blueprint for the elevator.
So I was destined to continue following in Noah's footsteps, and his next target had been a lift that goes all the way down to the Earth's surface, because the voice had told him that was a good place to look for some kind of immunity booster that would allow him to enter the infected lab where research into a cure had been conducted. I returned to this room and headed upstairs, where I scanned a wrecked water tank and small gardening pot. After a session collecting yet more glass...
This looks like a nice spot to chill and look at the pure oblivion of the world.
And claiming some more loot. Oh, and defeating another burrowing pig cricket.
Pig cricket! Die, pig cricket!
I discovered I could mow the lawn to collect biomass, so I figured why not? Since it was a new resource and I wasn't sure how rare it would be. I continued finding data pads indicating how devastating the apocalypse had been for those attempting to survive on Earth. And I spent a rather stupid amount of time hacking at grass with my knife. About 8 minutes. I'd swipe a few times, which would use up all my energy, and then I'd puff like a maniac, out of breath while I waited for my energy to recharge. I ended up with 76 biomass.
Lift is over there? I don't think I can get over those brambles yet.
As I lifted off, I earned the achievement for acquiring the second mission report, and somebody spoke to me.
Come down below to my reborn kingdom.
Come down below to my reborn kingdom. Okay, weirdo.
I guess that was the same voice that had infiltrated Noah's head, and now it was in mine. And it seemed the voice wanted me to find a way through this big natural wall. As some rain whipped up, I headed over to this part of the wall with the weird bulbous nonsense. And by the time Stinky decided to assault my ship, it was sunny again. And eventually, I drew near to the big testicle thingos, and I was able to scan one.
Requires a special module for the extractor to get rid of it. I can just make it straight away. Just some polymer and circuit boards that I already found. Boom.
The module had auto-equipped, and now my extractor was capable of zapping organic stuff. As I extracted these big seeds, the vines blocking the way broke apart, and I collected heaps of biomass from them too. So I immediately realized all the grass cutting I'd done had not been worth it.
We're through, baby. Oh, look at that big thing. Don't fall on my ship. Put another one of those on. Just make sure I stay ahead in the metal game, you know what I mean? Go on, research plant oil.
And with that, I zoomed on through to a new area.
Look at this. This area more red. Or am I imagining that?
I soon realized this area had biomass floating around, so it was indeed very easy to come by. I kinda wish I hadn't spent 2 moons hacking at grass. And as I began researching the distiller, I was warned of something big nearby.
Colossal life form detected. What? Oh. Over there somewhere?
Yeah, there was now a big bee-looking monster symbol on my radar, and I was inclined to give it a wide berth. I wasn't in the mood for any colossal insects. I decided to make some more space on the airship, and I soon had a 3x3 area at the end of my little corridor.
A bit spacious, you know what I mean?
I expanded my catwalk area, and had aspirations of walling off the interior. However, I only managed to place precisely 1 metal wall, because each metal wall costs 2 copper, and evidently I was rather low on that particular material.
I need way more copper. How the heck am I going to get all the copper I need?
I did some more researching. They were mainly polymer-based researchers. I fended off Stinky, and when I saw this madness, I figured I'd better check it out, so I began extracting the big nuts, until I ran out of fuel again. I researched biofuel, but then just made synthetic fuel because I was too impatient to wait 5 seconds for the research to be done. I zapped this big hunk of metal, and that caused the building to collapse, which made way for me to enter, and when I spotted a shipping container with lovely purple corners, I was intrigued. I landed directly on top of the building, but discovered the container was inaccessible from this side due to a random massive something rather blocking the way, so I was forced to perform some of the finest flying the galaxy has ever seen, as I maneuvered my airship into position at the other end of the container, which hung above a 3 million meter drop.
So awkward. We're on, don't worry.
There were just a bunch of research parts in here, not too bad. I also managed to avoid falling into the abyss below, so that was a bonus. I then discovered the game kept track of the various locations I'd discovered. Apparently, I was still yet to discover multiple variations of the location categories I'd visited so far. There was all sorts of other data I'd never looked at too. Perhaps one day it'd be useful. For now, I continued following my big nose, and said proboscis sniffed something falling from the heavens.
Holy dooly.
As if in response to the commotion, Stinky the scrapwing hatchery erupted upward from the dust below, determined to munch on my catwalk. I did not allow such tomfoolery, and so she performed her sad little flop back down into the dusty red.
Very smoky. That's a smoky one, man.
The escape pod had conveniently crashed atop a building, which meant I was able to check it out. Sadly, there was no sign of survivors, which was a shame because it would have been helpful to enslave them. Just kidding, I would have eaten them with a side of boiled dust lettuce. As you can see, I found quite a lot of good loot, including my first find of epoxy. I also found a data pad that allowed me to research the large bottle, but they cost quite a lot of epoxy to make, so I didn't craft any for now.
That looks like a radio tower, but it's got a question mark on it on the map.
I concluded it must be a variant of the location I hadn't discovered yet, so I headed over and upon arriving learned it was a desolated tower. A radio tower variant unique for the giant purple plant growing up through the middle of it. Also...
What the heck? What is this thing? A crustpede? Don't dangle on a vine near me, you stinky crustpede. We love loot. We do. I got a unique research part. Ooh.
This computer here unlocked a bunch of new airship study recipes too. I also found a beautiful ancient clock. As I returned to my airship, I realized it actually looked kind of decent, even without walls.
Nice clock, dude. Should I be scared of the storm or do I just not give a crap? Okay, I've got the improved insect lure.
I decided to sleep through the storm, except it was still going when I woke up. It cleared by the time I slashed another dangly crustpede, and I claimed a lucifern fruit from the funky purpley vine.
Gives it energy. Okay.
I'd boiled the first crusty dangler, so I ate it, and then began boiling its bro, before heading off to another question mark on the map. I soon arrived here to discover a temporary camp, another radio tower variant. As always, there was lots of loot, and I was very happy to find transformers because I definitely wasn't able to craft them, so exploration and scavenging was the only way to stock up. I found 4 at this spot.
Yeah, there is a little camp set up here, huh?
I found something to scan inside.
A comfortable pet bed. A pet bed?
So there was some kind of pet in my future, which was a pleasing prospect.
I'd love to just place more walls so I can place more storage, but
I had no copper, so I couldn't place any walls on which to hang cabinets, so after researching the soft pet cushion, I crafted some storage chests to place on the ground. These are made of metal and synthetics. I also made a small water tank in which you can store dirty water. After exploring those 2 question marks, it was time to go to the quest's exclamation mark. This tower with the big circle on top, except I had a problem.
Yeah, I don't think I can get high enough.
The entrance was just a wee bit above above my head. I worked out I was able to afford a balloon expansion, but that just increases the amount of weight your balloon can carry. It doesn't increase lift. So I had to conjure up 2 copper out of somewhere. I thought I was completely out, but apparently I had precisely 2. Exactly what I needed for a metal wall, on which I was able to attach a 3rd turbine, which I hoped would do the trick.
Go from 270 to 290. And that, my friends, is enough.
And so I was able to land atop this jumble of shipping containers to arrive at the lift location from which Noah had ventured down below.
Descent to the underdust. Alright, I've got Noah's access unit. Is that more of Noah's weird imagery?
I'd found the blueprint to Noah's access unit from the computer in Noah's garden base, and apparently it would help me get into the lift. I spotted the access terminal up there, and when I scanned it, I unlocked the blueprint for Noah's keycard. I just needed to combine the access unit I'd already made with some polymer, and boom, Noah's keycard. There was plenty to loot right here though, so I focused on that first, including scanning this wrecked deck extractor and opening 3 chests.
Good loot. Deck extractor. What is a deck extractor?
I climbed up onto the roof, dropped down to the access terminal, and popped Noah's keycard in there, and suddenly the lift doors were open. After emptying my bag and charging up some tools, it was time to go.
Alright, I guess I'm going down. It seems like a bad plan. Isn't there a reason why everyone scrambled up the skyscrapers to try and avoid? I suppose I better sleep first.
And after a quick snooze,
Alright, go on then. Oh dear. Yeah, that stuff's gonna kill me, isn't it?
a short trip later, and I arrived in the underdust. As soon as I emerged from the lift, I received a warning, telling me I was entering a toxic zone, and an oxygen timer popped up indicating I had 100 seconds worth of O2 in the tank, and after that I'd be dead. I found an energy crystal, which prompted some new research options and blueprints to unlock. I found some dust daisies, which unlocked the plant resin research, and so it was immediately clear there were plenty of new goodies to find down here. I ducked back into the lift to top up my oxygen when it got low, and this thorn bee hive looked extra aggressive in red, and it gave me 3 bits of honey instead of the one that you get from normal hives, so that was a bonus. I thoroughly investigated the area, grabbing all the loot, and when I wandered through this doorway, I began to get the feeling there was quite a large area to explore down here. I scanned this oxygen refill station, but it required a crystal battery to operate, so my go-to O2 method remained returning to the lift. Thankfully, someone had left arrows on the ground to help me remember my way back. Off in another direction, I found a dead fella.
The world down here is so amazing. The voice tells me that it is because there are no more bad people, that nature could flourish anew. I searched for a long time for the path to the destroyed laboratory, but I kept getting lost here. Limited air supplies don't make it any easier. That's why I made these signs.
Evidently, this data pad was a note from Noah, and he had indeed left signs leading to the lab. But I, of course, ignored that and couldn't resist looting up an absolute storm. I even whipped out some excellent parkour to ensure I was able to reach any energy crystals growing in high places. There were upgrade modules to claim, even though I didn't know how to use them yet.
So much loot, man.
I was determined to get as many energy crystals as possible, because it seemed obvious I'd need them to make crystal batteries.
What is that? That looks terrifying. It's a hungry plant. Hypothermia booster? So I can't get past that unless I have a hypothermia booster? Is that what you're saying? Alright, these arrows pointing back to where I need to get oxygen are very useful. I'm probably going to die anyway. No, I'm good. Oh, left that a little late.
I'd explored most of the rooms near the lift, and my bag was full of goodies, including 21 energy crystals, so I headed back up.
Alright, so I can get... Yeah, here we go. Crystal battery. That's what we're gonna need.
Crystal batteries were made by simply adding 2 energy crystals to a solid state battery, so I was able to make quite a few. Back down I went, and I climbed the ladder next to the dead guy. As I was looting, I spotted one of those O2 thingos, so I put a crystal battery in there and sucked in some air, and I was able to keep on going without a mad dash back to the elevator. I scanned a couple new varieties of plants out here, I just kept on finding delicious loot, and finally I actually followed Noah's lab signs and headed across here, and up this mess of platforms until I reached another O2 point, which I charged up just to be safe. But I was closer to the lab than I'd thought. Once I climbed this ladder, I had arrived.
Okay. Whoa. I found some traces of Noah.
I probably shouldn't have wasted another crystal battery charging this one up, but I did to be safe. I scanned this sciencey looking thing here and learned that new species of plants had sprung up adapting to the dust. And apparently among those plants was one capable of curing the virus. I scanned this other sciencey looking thing and unlocked the virus sample analyzer research. The virus sample analyzer is apparently capable of extracting viruses from organic materials, and it was crucial to my mission. I'd need to return to my airship to build one.
I feel like my other option is I can go down here. Oh, what's that? Wrecked upgrade station. Ooh.
Perhaps I'd finally be able to use the upgrade modules I'd been finding. I decided I might as well try to get to the other side of this fence while I was here, and I'd come up with a plan I hoped would work. Jump onto the pole? No worries. And then jump down this way? No worries. I'm not sure if I was supposed to be able to do that, but it turns out I'd found a cheeky way to circumvent the weird ice plants.
What is this? What do I do about that thing? I don't think I can do anything about it. I need a hypothermia booster. It's just gonna kill me?
Yeah, I don't think I thought this one through. I was now trapped behind a weird hungry bush, and I was rapidly running out of O2. I at least claimed some plant resin, and it seemed my only option was to climb down this ladder to the tunnels below, where I enjoyed some mild horror vibes.
I need somewhere to breathe. Dude, where am I? I don't even know how I got down here. Oh man, I need somewhere I can breathe.
My O2 was down in the red, but I thought for sure there'd be an O2 checkpoint down here somewhere. I'd taken a wrong turn to a dead end initially, so I legged it back the other way and was luckily rewarded.
Aha. I found breath.
I had a feeling I might still be stuck down here, but at least I was not dead. I found some new airship buildables.
Balloon core? Cockpit inverted?
And my bag was full again, but I of course made room for the precious energy crystals. I wandered down this tunnel and another toothy flower tried to kiss me. I wandered down this way and this fella slow turned to look at me in derision.
Ah! Those frosty guys are scary, man.
And so it was that I had only one possible way to go, through this absolute mess and right up to a big cylinder that required moving out of the way.
I have been waiting for you.
Oh! Oh! What on earth? What on earth? Oh my goodness gravy.
They do not like intruders.
Beware of my children, they do not like intruders. Yeah.
He has a gift for you.
Continue on Noah's path, he has a gift for you.
The key to the future of your species is to be found in the mistakes of your ancestors.
There was a dead insect monster thingo here, and a scan revealed it was an impious mantis.
Can you tell your children not to kill me?
I exacted cold-blooded revenge upon the deceased mantis.
So, the mother of those scary mantises...
The voice in my head is their mother, apparently. I shoved this massive vine out of the way, and the physical exertion from that resulted in a rather dramatic coughing fit.
Goodness me. Oh. Who are you?
Friendly insect.
Rescue! Oh, my inventory's full. Wrecked crossbow. Okay, we're getting somewhere now. What's this? For the one who will come here after me, the voice said it would bring help, but I know it will be too late for me.
It seems this was the end of Noah's journey, but he knew the virus labs were on the infected greenhouse, so that was where I must go next.
The plants are pulling their tendrils towards me. They want me to become a part of them, and I want that too. So this is where Noah died, and he became a part of the plants? Noah's dead body. Well, I need to rescue that guy, but I also need to make sure I breathe.
I went and sucked up some of the good stuff, and by the time I returned, I'd made space for my new friend, and I earned the achievement to discover an intelligent, friendly creature. He shall be called Bug-Eye Bingus.
I think that was the final thing I needed to find here. Now I've got to build a virus sample analyzer and then go nuts.
Yeah, man, go nuts. And goodbye, Noah. Enjoy the eternal embrace of those tendrils, you crazy biblical reference of a goose on the loose.
What's gonna happen if I try to run past it? Dude, I can just run past it. Oh, that's the way up. Okay. Yeah, I can just run past those things. I was so terrified of them for so long.
I made my way back here, and immediately proved my running past theory was wrong.
Go! Run, run, run! Oh, nope. Can't run past that one. It's blocking. It's blocking the way. Can I even get out of here then?
Yeah, I got out rather easily by simply climbing back over this way. And after a rather long stint in the spooky underdust, it was time to ascend.
That'll do me, man. That is a successful mission. Feeling good about the progress.
Back on my ship, it was a case of first things first. And the most important thing to do was make a cushion.
Oh, I can put equipment on my pet? No way.
Hey!
Oh, hello, little guy. So funny how artists can make insects which are almost universally hideous. Humans have a instinctive revulsion. Artists can make them kind of cute.
Go on then, Bug-Eye Bingus, you big cutie.
Oh, there's a few things we need to do here. Let's get the upgrade fabricator.
Over the next passage of play, I researched a bunch and made my first deck extractor, which set me back 4 epoxy, 1 motherboard, and 4 energy crystals. And the upgrade fabricator was even more expensive, but I'd collected quite a lot of materials while below the dust, so it was all good. And I was soon placing the big chunky beast down.
Can upgrade my turbines, my insect catcher, my engine, my tool charger, my extractor module. It's gonna cost me 2 motherboards though. Motherboards are expensive.
I did it anyway, and it was going to take 60 seconds to print. I placed a furniture fabricator down too, and began crafting a simple storage rack. And I don't think I realized I could actually craft motherboards.
I spent all my motherboards on other random crap instead of the actual important item for the quest.
I assumed motherboards were like transformers, that they could only be found while scavenging, but I was actually capable of crafting one, I just hadn't realized. I whacked a couple of my chests on the rack I'd built, and my reload extractor module was ready. But to use it, I had to unequip my organics extractor module. And this was the key benefit of this new module.
Oh, it charges way faster. But if I want to get organics, I need this. That's alright, I can just keep it handy, I guess.
I realized I could make items for Bug-Eye Bingus using the furniture fabricator.
Hey, I need ink bulbs.
I got back on the move, and my radar seemed to indicate that this building here was a location of interest, but I couldn't see anything. I had a little gallivant on the rooftop though, which was marvelous. I headed to a question mark on the radar next, this wind farm, and upon arrival I learned it was a desolated wind farm. Here's the deck extractor in action, by the way. It extracts materials super fast. When I wandered over to this old wind turbine, I was repelled by some angry bees, and I couldn't stab their hive through this gap, but that reminded me I was able to craft a new toy. I made a crossbow and some bolts, and suddenly I had ranged offensive capabilities, which I made use of to annihilate my bee enemies. And there were even more bees in there, so many bees, but I knifed the second hive. Wind farms are important locations as they offer up copper, and some variations give helium too. Also, you can't argue with a red car.
Hey! Toy car, let's go.
But yes, I was working out that wind farms were definitely the main source of copper and helium, so I became a big fan of the big fans. The footing was a little treacherous though. Once I'd looted the place dry, I gave Bug-Eye Bingus the red car, and I got back on the move. And I figured I should pay a visit to this big funky tree. It just had lots of aggressive purple, and a few luciferne fruit which I knocked off and collected. I then visited another one of these funky crane locations. You know, the ones with the vibrant purple shipping containers, and buildings that collapse in dramatic fashion as soon as you extract the linchpin. The last time I died, I lost some stuff, but not this time, so I don't know what happened there. I think the game might have showed mercy because it had second-hand embarrassment from how bad that jump was. Instead of maneuvering my ship into a better position, I went for the dodgy jump again, and I made it this time. And where the wind farm locations are perfect for finding copper and helium, these crane locations offer up some quick-to-grab research parts. I made the jump back and got on the move again. I headed to another question mark, and it was another wind farm. This one was a command center variant. The key difference was this central building, which was much bigger, offering a fair bit of extra loot, including some more research parts. It was a little bit dicey to navigate the dodgy walkways, but I carefully made my way lower where I found a data card with a chair blueprint on it. I walked this balance beam, and the creme de la creme right down the bottom here was a whopping 3 unique research parts, the rarest of the parts. And perhaps even more exciting than that, I scanned this wrecked freezer and unlocked the small freezer research.
Problem is, how the hell do I get out of here?
I am thoroughly surprised I didn't die as I jumped my way out, but look at me go. I made a point of flying low enough such that I could reach the solar towers that poked up out of the dust with my deck extractor, because that was a great way to stock up on silicon. And I next went to this radio tower. This was a variation I'd been to before, a temporary camp. So I wasn't necessarily going to find anything new here, but I wanted to stock up on loot.
Do you remember the forests?
I was learning that radio towers were a great source of precious transformers, so it was a worthy stop off, no doubt. It cost me 1 helium to research the small freezer, but I needed 10 to craft one, so that wasn't possible yet. But I at least had a close look at my crafting menu and realized I was able to craft circuit boards and motherboards. I added 2 more rooms to the back of my airship, but then ran out of metal, and I flew towards the infected greenhouse, which was my next quest destination. It was indeed looking rather infected. Approaching from this angle, it kind of looks like there's no way you can possibly land, but in the background there you can see a bit of a platform. But I am famously a goose, so I did not see that platform, and I did not notice the quest said, go find traces of Noah at the platform. And in my wisdom, I concluded there was no platform to land on, and that I'd have to find a creative way to get myself into the infected greenhouse. And so I made a docking plank.
If I chuck this here...
Docking planks can do some of these ones.
No way. Oh. Yes. Oh, am I taking damage? Oh, I am taking damage. I am taking damage.
I was a big fan of the lovely plank, at least.
That's gonna be very useful.
Instead of trying to deal with the problem of the deadly nonsense covering my target, I decided to craft a distiller, using up one of the 9 transformers I'd farmed.
Okay, so I can make organic fertilizer, plant oil, plant resin.
Check out this drive-by copper collection. Very nice. But I wasn't having a great time with metal collection, because this second area beyond the barrier didn't have any metal floating around. So I added another metal collector to deal with the shortage.
There's no way this is safe having an engine engine, a turbine, and these things sitting right next to each other, but you know how it is.
And apparently I was more excited about getting a freezer than I was about finding a cure to save humanity, because I touched down at another wind farm and had a lovely session hoovering up all the loot, and crucially, helium. But then I got distracted expanding my airship again, as I'd managed to research stairs, and I thought it'd be exciting to add another level below. As I always do in games where you can build bases, I almost immediately changed my mind and ripped it all back down again before trying a different approach. But I ended up with a situation like this, which I was also unhappy with, but for now it was a start.
If I just have like stairs there, it's a little awkward, goes straight down onto catwalk, but I can build out all of this all the way back there, right?
3 minutes later, I moved the stairs again.
Okay, got a little railing around it now.
I did a little rearranging so it wasn't so cramped in my cockpit area, and I made a second device fabricator, because sometimes it's handy to craft multiple things at once.
Can I make lamp? I need some lamps, dude.
I got some lamp research going, and I soon placed this extremely underwhelming right angle light up.
I was hoping that would be way brighter.
After those diversions, I finally regained a degree of focus as I crafted a motherboard, which I used at long last to make the virus sample analyzer. This is the blueprint I'd gotten from the lab down in the Underdust, and I really should have played around with this thing before I'd paid a visit to the infected greenhouse.
Meningitis, gastroenteritis, photophobia, pyrexia.
This menu told me what I needed to analyze in order to find various virus samples, and after reading through, I concluded the immunity booster was probably what I needed to brave the infected greenhouse.
I think I would need the immunity booster, right? How do I get chitin? Let's analyze a bit of honey. Oh.
The analyzing shenanigans was a bit of a mini-game situation, and at first I had no idea what the heck was going on, but I eventually worked out that my goal was to remove the irrelevant particles and narrow things down until I was left with only the particle I wanted to extract. I destroyed my first sample. On the second go-round, I removed all the large particles and isolated the small meningitis particle, but then it was round 2. This was a bit more involved, but through a process of removing particles by size, and then by the charge that they held, and then by their pH, I was able to isolate the particle, which in this case needed to be small, positively charged, and of a neutral pH. I destroyed the second sample too, but on my third attempt I got the hang of it and found success.
Virus sample extracted. Okay.
That unlocked a few health-related research options, and then I realized the analyzer had pooped out the meningitis sample, which I used to research the hypothermia booster, because I figured crafting those would be helpful dealing with the weird ice plants in the Underdust. I analyzed some more honey, and because I'd already cracked the honey code once, it did this one automatically, and I was able to collect more meningitis, which I used to make a hypothermia booster, and I don't know what I thought clicking on it would do, but I clicked on it.
Wait, what? How long does that last for?
The duration bar began very slowly draining, so it appeared it would last a fair while. And I was convinced the next thing I needed was chitin, so I was on a mission.
Maybe I can find chitin if I go down this lift. Why can I not land? How long is my flaming ship? Oh, because that's right, I made a bottom level. I forgot. I'm so dumb, bro.
In my defense, at this time I was not getting much sleep, due to a small human recently spawning in my home, so I was even more cooked than usual. Anyway, I did some more analyzing. I popped a dust daisy in there.
We're extracting again. I don't really know what's going on, I'm not gonna lie.
Before long, I nailed the extraction process and claimed a photophobia sample.
Mydriasis inhibitor, cure for photophobia disease. Okay.
Apparently that's a disease you can contract from lulling grass crickets.
The symptoms are looking directly into the sun causes injuries and visual disturbances. That's so random.
I then crafted a bunch of circuit boards, using up much of the copper I'd collected, and I made a small freezer which I placed down here. I got distracted by Stinky, who actually managed to deal some damage to this piece of catwalk. How cheeky. And then I began placing food in the freezer.
And it's frozen. Perfect.
The spoiling process is paused on items placed in the freezer. So this was great news, as it meant I'd now be able to stockpile fruits and flowers, because up until this point, everything had been going rotten.
I kind of feel like I need to go on an absolute rampage and finish off my ship and then move everything so it's all logical and set up proper storage. It's a whole mission.
But first, the lift. This was a different lift, but of the same variety as the last lift I'd visited, so it would theoretically be identical. And I hadn't found chitin at the last lift, so I think I was a bit hopeful thinking there might be chitin down here. But on the other hand, I didn't really mind. I was already low on energy crystals, and I knew that if I was serious about my dream of making my airship into a glorious beast, I'd need all the materials I could get. So down I went, and I began looting. By the time I made it to the ice dew plants, my hypothermia booster had worn off, so I went back up the lift and made another. And I guess I should explain how these weird plants work. Apparently, the only way they detect you is by sensing the heat from your body, and these hypothermia boosters lowered my temperature somehow, and voila. The silly plant lost thermal sight of me and stood like a tall dingus, and through I went. Either I'd missed this particular spot in the previous Underdust area I'd visited, or these weren't identical after all. But either way, I needed the hypothermia booster to get back here, and it was a very good find, as I was able to scan a wrecked storage box. And then it was time to head down into the tunnels. Long story short, the tunnel system was the same, but I believe this passage here is where I found Noah's body. However, in this place it was blocked, which makes sense. It'd be a little bit much if I found Noah's body in 2 different locations. But it seemed I had my answer. There was an absolute bounty of loot down here, but no chitin to be found. Once I returned to the ship, I made my first small garden plot and planted an ink bulb seed in it. And once I'd watered it, it began to grow. I got back on the move and went pew pew with my deck extractor, and before long an achievement popped up.
Grow a plant in your airship's garden. Hey! I have grow plant. Ink bulb. Well, I grew 3 from 1 seed.
And I got another seed from that harvest. So it appeared once I found a seed in the wild, I could renewably grow as much of that plant as I wanted. This was the first time I had quite a distance to travel, and therefore the first time I felt the pain of how flamin' slow I was moving, because it felt like I'd been traveling for about 2 years as I ambled along at 15 kilometers per hour. So I was inspired to upgrade my engine using upgrade modules, transformers, and polymer. A minute later, I had a big boy engine.
I'm going close to twice as fast. That's good.
My new engine ran out of fuel, and it can fit 2 stacks, so I cooked up a bunch of biofuel and shoved it in there. And I believe I could have added more engines to get even more speed at this point, but I felt way faster with the upgraded engine, so I was content for now. I planted some canola seeds, because now that I had a freezer, I figured I should try and stock up on a variety of produce. And guess what my destination was? It was the original lift tower, because I was still on the hunt for chitin so I could make an immunity booster, and I had a theory. Before heading down, I made my first big storage box out of epoxy, and reveled in the glory of a bunch more space. And then, down I went. My theory was that I'd forgotten to try and loot the dead mantis, because I'd apparently completely forgotten that I'd aggressively slashed at the dead body several times the first time I was here. So this was a complete waste of time. This dead mantis definitively was not going to give me any chitin. One strange thing did happen though. I decided to double check Noah's stinky body, but this vine had reappeared, so I cleared it again, and I got a notification about my health status.
Wait, what? My immunity permanently was reduced?
I don't know if this was supposed to happen the first time I was here, or if I just completely trolled myself by stupidly returning, but I guess the point was that my health was deteriorating due to the effects of the virus. Also, there was nothing new about Noah here. He was still dead.
I need your chitin, dude. Please. Would it surprise you to hear that I'm stupid?
Yeah, this is when I finally bothered to read the quest instructions that had been in the top left corner the entire time. And when I read the words landing pad, I knew I must have missed something. So I returned to the infected greenhouse. I really am not sure how I missed this the first time. As an initial experiment, I tried shooting at the infected gnolls. That achieved nothing. And then I wandered over to this building here, where I read something that I already knew.
You will die if you go in there. Enter the location, you need an immunity booster.
Hey, that's what I said.
So I was right, but I was too dumb to realize there was a safe platform here. Bro, why am I so dumb?
But really, I wasn't that bothered.
I farmed a lot of useful resources while I was doing that, so can't complain, can't complain, can't complain.
So I was right about needing chitin to make an immunity booster. But now thanks to the quest marker, I actually knew where to find chitin, which was a great stride forward for humanity.
Oh, this one's cool. Look how big this building is. So sick. Oh, we're going down here. Now we're getting somewhere. We're gonna get some chitin, baby.
This was a wild habitat location, which according to the research notes I just read, should be home to some creatures from whom I could steal some chitin. There was a fair bit to loot on the platform here, so I started with that before inspecting the entrance more closely. I scanned this creepy looking stuff and learned they were fungal markings.
Oh, created by mantises as part of their mating behavior. They use their own feces to clog these fungal structures. These are little poo sculptures. I love poo sculptures. What's this?
This thing is an old alternator, and it was inviting me to shoot at it. And after some spinnies, the door opened up. There was a dead guy here, and a data pad explaining what this place was.
This place is a gold mine. The problem is that no one needs gold anymore.
I had a feeling I'd be fighting some mantises in this gold mine, so I crafted some more crossbow bolts before making my way in. There was yet more loot to claim just near the entrance, including some summer balm fruit, but once I'd scooped all that up, it was clear I was destined to go down this way. I scanned this dangly, and it turned out to be copper, so that was the first ever copper I'd found outside of a wind farm, and these blue balls are breath nuts, which I also diligently collected. And it's just as well I had a flashlight handy, because it was rather dark down here.
I just gotta walk down, man. No lifts here.
True, I was going to be visiting the Underdust using my legs this time, and it was looking rather stinky down there. I wondered if I could perhaps walk along here and continue further along above the green, but no. I fell and officially entered the Underdust, where the 100-second oxygen counter began to count down. It appeared there was loot to grab to the left and right, but I headed straight, and I had a strong feeling a giant insect lurked in wait for me, and I was somewhat afraid.
Oh my gosh. What is this hellscape?
My character aggressively wheezing and coughing like that didn't help to put me at ease.
How am I supposed to... I need to make an oxygen thing.
I was concerned 100 seconds of oxygen wasn't going to be enough, so I returned to my ship and used some meningitis to research the oxygen booster. And then I realized what a breath nut does.
Breath nut... Oh, I should have looked more carefully what a breath nut is, dude. Breath nuts restore 50 seconds of oxygen.
I extracted more meningitis from some honey.
When the nut was called a breath nut, I probably should have guessed that it might help with my breath.
I made an oxygen booster despite the breath nut discovery, just to be safe, and I looked into growing some of my own breath nut with a seed I'd found, but it was a big seed, so it couldn't be grown in my small grower. I headed back down, and I held off using the oxygen booster because I hoped I could get away with relying on breath nut for my O2 needs. I ventured into this tucked away area first, which offered up plenty of loot, including my first diver pearl fruit, which I discovered restores 75 oxygen, so it seemed my O2 worries were covered.
I'm gonna just eat these things all day long down here.
There was a huge amount of energy crystals in the area, and some other goodies too. And by the time I returned to the main path along which I could head deeper, I'd already collected 9 diver's pearls and 11 breath nuts. And then I spotted it.
Oh, there's a mantis. I straight up see one now. Okay, how do I fight this thing? There's no way I can fight this thing. Get some. Oh, he's spitting at me. He's spitting at me. Get some. Hemorrhage fever.
It seemed the mantis had 2 attacks. A ranged acid spit that had attempted to shoot at me as I cowered back in the tunnel, and that big leap attack that had given me hemorrhage fever. I'm not sure what the hemorrhage fever actually did to me, but I had somehow not lost that much health. Also, the mantis was a big idiot, shooting straight into a wall over and over. Meanwhile, I shot at one of its limbs over and over. And while I was protected from the acid spits, I believe my crossbow bolts were dishing out some damage. And so it was that I immediately managed to dishonorably cheese the mantis, because I was much too scared to wander out from my cover to face it in the open area beyond, which I think is fair enough.
Oh, he's getting creative. Get some. Oh, he's dead. Yes.
Warning, oxygen level is low.
4 chitin. Beautiful. Are there any more of these dinguses?
I'd spent a long time trying to find chitin, so this was a momentous occasion. I cautiously wandered out, but it appeared there were no more mantises in the area. I found an O2 refill station here, but opted not to charge it up because I'd rather save the crystal battery and just munch on breath nuts, which I was constantly doing whenever my O2 fell below 50. And I didn't proceed further down just yet. I first looted this area, collecting heaps more breath nuts and crossbow bolts. Also, a random garden gnome.
What's a garden gnome doing here in this forsaken land?
I had some chitin now, so theoretically I could have left and got on with the story by extracting a virus from it, but I of course wanted to fully explore the location, so I was destined to go deeper.
I can hear another one. I can see another one. I can see 2? How am I gonna take on 2, dude?
There was a similar tunnel situation, and some barriers up much like the first area, so I was going to use that as cover and hope for the best. I peeked out to shoot off bolts, and some of the acid was hitting me, but it didn't seem to do much damage on impact.
It's not really doing any damage to me though. Am I standing in it? Oh, I'm standing in it. That's not the play.
It did a lot more damage if I stood in it like an idiot, so I did my best to avoid that. The Mantis twins' strategy seemed to be to hang back and shoot at me, and my cover wasn't as good this time, so I had to be more careful, but I managed to consistently hit the closer Mantis with bolts. Eventually, that Mantis attempted to jump at me, and I was worried it was going to chase me down the tunnel, but luckily it didn't seem able to fit.
I should have brought some healing items. Why did I not bring healing items? What was I thinking?
After a couple more pot shots, the nearer of the two was defeated, and the other one was shooting acid at me from a mile away. But when I ventured out to try and shoot at it, it was lured in closer as it attempted to leap on me and eat my brains.
Miss me, idiot. You stuck? What you doing, bro? I don't know about this one. I think it's AI really wanted to get range again so it could shoot at me.
After that little hiccup, the big fella was back to its usual shenanigans. But I just hid behind the poop sculpture and soon finished it off. So that was another 8 chitin for me to collect and another area to explore and loot. I soon moved on to the final area of this location.
There's a facility here.
Oxygen level is low.
No way. What's this? What is this? Charged growth blockade. Tool required. Charged bolt.
I didn't know how to get a charged bolt, so it seemed I was going to have trouble getting into that building. But there was plenty of good stuff for me to find outside too, including my first encounter with a dust firecracker, and someone's dodgy old airship was parked here too. Inside this shipping container, I found endless riches.
I found all the useless money in the world. All this money's not much good in the apocalypse. unfortunately. Blasphemous Mantis Anatomy.
I found a bunch of moss needles, these little spiky plants, but my bags were full, so I had to get rid of the garter gnome to make space, as it seemed these needles were going to be useful.
Ideal as a binder and builder for medium-sized objects.
There were multiple broken chests, but I was out of repair patches, so I couldn't get into them. And this dead bug was a blasphemous mantis, a more dangerous version of the impious mantis. Except not this particular one, as it was indeed deceased. Desecrating its body with some slashes earned me a few more chitin. I collected quite a few moss needles, I made sure I didn't run out of O2, which was a good effort, and I was perplexed about the weird zappy stuff on this door. But it was nice to see this bloke had managed to claim a nice pile of cash.
Can you help me with a charged bolt, dude?
Having explored the surrounding area, I now paid more attention to the structure, and discovered it had fiberglass all over it, a new material for me to stock up on.
We got some fiberglass. Fiberglass.
That sweet moss needle and that cold hard glass of fiber were the big finds down here, and while I wasn't able to enter the building downstairs, I was able to get into this upper area, from which I picked up a whole bunch of new research options, as well as a note from someone whose idiot friends had decided to try living down in the smog, and as a result, they all died.
I'm gonna use this oxygen booster. Oh, push my oxygen up to 160. Yeah, I'm just gonna use it so I can get the transformer. I feel like transformers are rare enough that I should just grab it.
Yeah, I used the oxygen booster purely to make room in my bag. Turns out it doubles your max O2 from 100 up to 200.
Alright, well, there's definitely something else in here. I can see at least a data pad, and then that looks interesting. Can I scan that? Oh, I can scan it through the wall? Is that hacking? Artifact trade station. Who knows what else is in there? I feel like I want to come back. If I can figure out how to get charged bolts, I might come back.
With that, I headed back up above the smog to regroup.
Now, what can I research? Oh, I can research.
I needed dust firecracker fruit, and I'd only managed to bring home seeds somehow. But no matter, I just chucked a seed into the small grower, and it was only a matter of time before I'd be able to research how to make charged bolts. chitin armor had appeared as an option too, and my list of airship research options was looking rather long. But I resisted doing any of those for now, and instead got busy analyzing some chitin. I was able to extract the hemorrhagic fever virus, which is large, uncharged, and neutral. No worries, science, and all that. Before long, I was done.
What did I extract? Hemorrhagic fever. Now I can research immunity booster. I need glowweed and siren crown fruit.
A new location had popped up on my radar, where supposedly I'd be able to find those plants. But for now, it was time to harvest some firecracker fruit and research charged bolts. I was able to craft 10 of them using the other 2 firecracker fruit I'd harvested. I planted some more dust firecracker seeds, and now that I knew making an immunity booster would only cost 1 chitin, I figured I could afford to spend 5 of the 16 that I had on researching chitin armor.
I think I can do that. I'll still have 5 left over for immunity boosters. Moss needle synthetic compound. Alright. Durability 100, damage resistance 50%, virus resistance 50%.
Sadly, it would break eventually, but a 50% damage reduction was huge.
Oh, what? Respawns?
I wasn't expecting respawns, but I shouldn't complain. This was going to yield up some more chitin for me. After vanquishing the beast using the hide in a tunnel technique, I continued on. The next area did not have respawns, so it was a clear run to the end.
Alright, charged bolt.
Woof! Finally, I made it beyond the weird sparky globules. Inside, I found a data pad explaining that someone had preserved a bunch of knowledge, culture, and stories here, because they hoped that one day humanity would prevail and reclaim Earth, and that when that day came, their collection would enrich the new Earth. Here's what I thought about that. Bless you. The artifact trade station here had 3 tiers of items for sale, purchasable with a currency called tech fragments.
I can sell stuff to get tech fragments. Interesting.
And it appeared I could only make 7 sales at this particular trade station. I was most intrigued by the various blueprints that were for sale, particularly the large backpack module blueprint for sale in tier 3. There was an adjoined room, from which I claimed some loot, and down this ladder I found another blasphemous mantis anatomy poster, along with a bunch of motion detectors which apparently can be used to make mines. And the broken chest on the floor made me realize I forgot to bring repair patches again, which was a big whoops.
Sell this?
Printing completed.
I got 60 trading tier points and 14 thingos, so now I can buy all this stuff.
That poster was a tier 3 item, so it had sold for quite a lot.
Planet crafter.
I sold that too, and it was a tier 2 item, so it earned me a bit less, but it was enough to hit trading tier 2. I used my 24 tech fragments to buy the blueprints for a black tactical backpack and headgear, and I thought these would be items that I could use, but as you'll see soon, these blueprints were actually for Bug-Eye Bingus. There was some more sparky stuff here, so I blew it up and found another dead dude and an upgraded crossbow, which I scanned, and and I grabbed the gnome I dropped earlier and sold that too. It was just a tier 1 item, so it only gave 6 tech fragments and 10 experience.
You need 900, bro. What the heck?
900 experience would require 15 tier 3 sales, or 23 tier 2 sales, or 90 tier 1 sales. So it appeared I'd have to visit a fair few trade stations to level up, considering each station only allows 7 sales max. This is when I realized the blueprints I'd bought were for the pet.
Oh, it's for the pet. Wait, what?
This at least inspired me to craft the sporty backpack, because I had some ink bulbs now.
Oh yeah, so he can carry stuff. Oh, well, that's worth. I definitely need to make sure this guy follows me now, because then I can put stuff in his backpack. Nice backpack, bro.
I knocked over a few of the new research options that had popped up during that expedition, and I kept on top of chores, such as making condenser membranes to ensure my water production line kept chugging. And then I decided it was time I took all these random posters off the roof.
I'm gonna keep the rabbit, because I love the rabbit. Okay, got some more firecracker fruit. Can I upgrade my crossbow? I can. Boom.
Once my crossbow was done upgrading, I headed back into the stink one last time. And it was a bit of a shame I couldn't just hoard all of the decorative items I'd found so far, but I figured it was important I make full use of this trading machine. By the time I'd sold 4 more items, I had 140 out of 900 experience towards tier 3, and that was all the sales I was allowed at this machine.
I think I buy the artifact lure blueprint, because that sounds very interesting.
And I'd finally remembered to bring repair patches down here, so I claimed a bunch more chest loot.
Yeah, so I can make an artifact lure now. It catches artifacts. That's crazy. Need fiberglass and moss needles, which is pretty expensive.
I immediately proceeded to forget to use the artifact lure, but I used it eventually, don't worry.
Oh, is that another barrier over there? Looks like another barrier over there.
I finally added more walls to the ship, which was revolutionary as it meant I could add a bunch more hanging cabinets. Before long, I had 8 up, 4 on either side.
I love it.
Up until this point, I'd had limited storage, so I'd just been dumping everything into whatever chest willy-nilly. But I decided it was time to get organized, so I split everything up into categories and designated those categories their own containers. I explored and looted this radio tower, and I made an unfortunate jump.
What the heck? Oh. Gosh dang it, bro. Oh, I think can we unstuck? Can unstuck. That's useful.
I finished looting the tower, and finding research parts was definitely the highlight. And I realized the railing here was causing issues getting around the ship, so I got rid of it to ensure my chunky thighs wouldn't snag on it anymore.
So it's definitely a big old wall, and I'm pretty sure that's the way the quest wants me to go. Maybe I can shoot at that crap there and it'll break the wall.
I stopped off at a wind farm.
Oh dear. For goodness sake, man. I lost so much copper.
This was a command center wind farm, so it yielded up some unique research parts, along with some copper and helium, of course. The quest was indeed sending me beyond this wall, but it was pretty obvious what I needed to do.
Shoot a charged bolt at this. Bushka! We're in. And I got a whole bunch of question marks on the map. Lower the artifact lure finally.
I don't know how Stinky here didn't get churned up by my turbine, but she is a wily one.
A new variety of radio tower? This area is like gloomier and mossier somehow.
And so I touched down at this overgrown tower. And I should mention, I'd been surviving for ages off old food rations and canned water that I'd found in the underdust. But at this point I had just run out of rations, so I did some more cooking for the first time in ages. I explored the overgrown tower with immediate results.
Oh. Bloom catwalk. Bloom, bloom, bloom? What do you mean bloom?
And I found a camera too. There were also some plants available to yoink here.
Yeah, what is this bloom nonsense? It just looks fancier. Oh, it does look kind of cool, you know.
I researched the small bloom 2-deck cockpit.
Oh yeah, that's sick.
I cleared out my existing cockpit and deconstructed it.
Okay, I no longer have a cockpit. I should probably make a new cockpit. We'll do this thing. It's so fancy. Holy crap. And then I need to connect that in, obviously. I think my rabbit still deserves pride of place here. Talk to me about bloom walls. It's going to cost all my unique research parts. Don't care. I want it.
Bloom walls are made of silicon, fiberglass, and biomass, so they were pretty expensive, particularly the fiberglass, considering you can only get that from the underdust. But it does look kind of fancy. I got back to exploring the tower.
Big garden pot. Okay, I can grow big old plants now.
And there were a bunch more plants to claim, including some lobster pepper and sun melons. Now that I knew bloom stuff was built using silicon, I was much more intentional extracting any silicon I spotted when moving around the skies.
I can't see anything. What is this?
This was definitely one of the more difficult locations to get into, but with some docking plank maneuvering, I climbed atop the precarious tower and learned it was a ruined radio tower. I claimed some loot from the top and then climbed down, but I couldn't enter because it was locked from the inside. So I noodled my ship down a little lower where I spotted a likely way in, and the docking plank came in clutch once again. I climbed up and discovered a data pad with some lore about how rival groups of survivors were giving each other a hard time, and then I didn't notice there was a giant hole in the floor.
Oh, you son of a gun. Why am I even bothering visiting places if I'm just gonna fall off and lose everything I collect? That is so rude. How did I not see the giant hole there?
Back on the ship, I accidentally ate raw lucifer fruit and gave myself gastroenteritis. But it earned me an achievement, so it was clearly worth it. I researched a bunch of medical items, which cost me some fruit and veggies that I had plenty of, and I made an electrolyte pill out of patat, swallowed it, and was healed of my self-inflicted gastro. Great news for my airship's toilet. I researched the big garden pot too.
I need more polymer. Can I make polymer? I haven't bothered trying to make it because I haven't needed to. I can with plant oil.
I used the random plant oil I had to craft some.
I think I make plant oil with this thing using canola.
And so I got the distiller working to squeeze out some plant oil, and I continued the research rampage while I waited. Get out of here, Stinky. I worked out plant resin is used to make epoxy.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to make a canola farm so I can make polymer. And I'm gonna need a dust daisy farm so I can make plant resin. I might as well craft as much epoxy as I can. Which is a lot, actually.
I made my first big garden pot and some extra small garden pots too. I planted green colander in 2 big boy pots because colander is pretty good as a food source, and I began growing canola in all 3 of these small pots. But if I was going to be a true farmer, I needed to get techie with it, and fertilizer doubles the speed of growth. It's quite cheap, costing just biomass and rotten food, so I got some of that cooking. Clearly, an intensely purple swirling liquid is just what my farm needs.
By the way, I still haven't caught an artifact somehow.
Before long, all of my garden pots needed watering again, so I was also going to need to up my water supply if I wanted to be a serious farmer.
Did I get an artifact? I got a garden gnome. It just finds artifacts in the sky. I love that.
I do indeed love catching sky garden gnomes. I added a second water condenser, and over the next few minutes I whacked membranes in both of these willy-nilly as I began stockpiling water. I also added another water filter so I could freshen up all the dirty water, because for some reason I assumed you can't water your plants with dirty water, but you of course can. So I didn't really need to filter all of it, but it wasn't that much extra work, so it's all good.
You can just do that. Bang, 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 bang.
And these things take barely any time to produce 5 dirty water, so it was a pretty streamlined process. My uncle used to have a farm, and one of the main crops he grew was canola. The fields of yellow were glorious, a core memory from my childhood, but they definitely weren't as glorious as this tiny crop on my airship. When I replanted the first one, I forgot to use fertilizer, but I remembered for the second, so its growth time was only 4 minutes. Meanwhile, I continued fishing up various gnomes.
I can make large bottles now? Oh my gosh.
I'd been able to make these for quite a while by this point, I just overlooked it.
Oh, they fit 20?
20 is significantly more than 5.
Big bottles. I remember unlocking big bottles. Like, I actually genuinely remember unlocking them. I don't know why I didn't think to make them.
When I harvested the colander plants, I learned that I wouldn't have to replant. I just needed to keep it watered and it'd give me fruit forever. This location appeared to have another accessible tower, so I noodled my way over and managed to get in with a good old plank. And it was a worthy visit, because I found a large freezer to scan.
Been dreaming of a large freezer, man. Got so much stuff I need to freeze, you know what I mean? I need liquid neon and a bunch more helium. What is that? See that? What's that? That's new. Glass. Oh, something's wrong here. Why is that floating?
Sometimes these locations had mysterious floating cranes. It was quite epic. I stopped off and claimed a bunch of research parts, and I continued collecting water and growing plants and distilling canola into plant oil before flying over to the new nature territory. The entrance to this location was low down near the dust, and there was so much synthetic compound in the trash. I was pretty sure I'd never have to craft it myself again. I told Bug-Eye Bingus to follow me and gained entry by shooting a charged bolt at these goobies. And then I realized there were no mantis poop sculptures here, but instead there were some webs.
Webbling larvae web. Traces left by insects inhabiting this environment. Are there gonna be spiders in here? Not spiders.
There was a fair bit to explore above the green, so it was a looting frenzy, and I descended into the smog with quite a solid amount of trepidation. I discovered the layout of this area was quite different to the mantis lair I'd visited earlier. The first building seemed to be free of threats, so I continued looting, and my bag was already full, so I dumped a bunch of stuff into Bingus's bag. What a helpful purple dingus. Obviously, O2 was a concern down here, but I had plenty of breath nuts, and there were more growing down here for me to harvest as needed. Before long, it was time to cross over to the next building, so I headed down these stairs.
What is that? Webbling larvae nest.
I began shooting at it, and after 4 bolts it was destroyed. And there was no sign of any arachnid foes, so it seemed taking out the nest from a distance was a decent strategy. Though I was concerned I might anger a brood mother and end up in webs. The nest dropped some chitin, which was great news, and I spotted another nest which suffered the same treatment. I made my way up by climbing a big branch, and I was of course looting as I went. Transformers still felt like a precious find, but I was getting to the point where I had plenty. Then again, there is no such thing as too many Transformers. Before long I crossed a natural bridge emerge out of this building and into the final area, which was reminiscent of the final area of the Mantis location, complete with a bunch of moss needles for me to collect. I found the first target of this mission, some siren crown fruit, and there was another nest, so it got some bolts, and that made 3 nests total, but 0 spiders, so I'd somehow avoided any real combat in this particular adventure. I was pleased to claim all the fiberglass I could find, and some more bloom-flavored airship pieces too, and I popped another blue cluster of pimples to make my way in to find my second artifact trade station. I found my first ever eel air fruit, a very exciting backpack, which I scanned.
Medium backpack, yes.
And the second target of this mission, some glowweed. But both my bag and Bingus's bag were flamin' full, so I had to muck around a bit before picking it up. But yes please, give me that glowweed.
I love that. Some cool decorative items. The bouncy road is clever.
I looted everything I could, including this dead mantis, and then headed out to empty my bags. And thanks to the abundance of plants I was finding, my freezer was already full.
I'd definitely get rid of my double ups. I seem to catch the gnomes very easily with my artifact lures, so I think I'll sell these 7 things.
The problem with selling the garden gnomes is that they only give a piddly 10 experience, so maybe I should have sold the higher tier stuff I had stored, but oh well. I wasn't able to sell the toy car I'd bought for some reason, apparently it was unwanted, so I sold the Planet Crafter poster on the wall right next to me, and by the end of that selling spree I was up to 270 out of 900 experience. I refilled my bags with what I'd missed the first time, and headed out after a successful expedition. The glowweed I'd found allowed me to research liquid neon, which was going to help with the medium backpack research, but it also required a whopping 15 chitin. And of course the siren crown fruit plus glowweed combo got the ball rolling on the all-important immunity booster research. Except I also needed a hemorrhagic fever sample, so I whacked some chitin into the analyzer to extract that.
Okay, get the hemorrhagic fever. And now I can research the immunity booster. Just need another hemorrhagic fever thing. Oh, but that means I'm not gonna have enough chitin to research my backpack. No.
Yeah, I had exactly 15 chitin at this point, and using another of them in the extractor meant I was unable to research the glorious backpack upgrade until I murdered some more giant insects.
I can make immunity booster. Boom. So now I can finally return to the infected greenhouse.
I headed towards the infected greenhouse immediately, lasering stuff as I went. And the dust looks quite inviting when it goes all rosy pink. Surely that smells delicious. I wanted a bunch of helium so I could make a large freezer, so I stopped off at a wind farm. And as I was leaving, another escape pod met a catastrophic end, so I of course went over to claim the spoils. Except I made a repair thrower with which I repaired the broken locks.
Chuck some repair foam in there. Pew! Oh, it just missed. That sucks. Pew!
It takes quite a lot of repair foam to repair one of these, but I think the cost works out cheaper than using the repair patches. Also, it's fun to spew foam everywhere. I stopped off at another purple shipping container, give me that loot. I stopped off at another wind farm, give me that loot. And after this particular harvest from my small growers, I decided to plant some glowweed so that I could use it to stock up on plenty of liquid neon. Speaking of, I now had 10 liquid neon, and those wind farms had gotten me the helium I needed, so it was time to upgrade my small freezer to large.
It looks pretty tall. Oh yeah, it's got heaps of space. That's what I'm talking about. Got 1.5 times the space, I believe. I think I'm bugged out and my insect friend has disappeared. Ow! I got meningitis from a bee.
Stopping at the wind farms didn't take long, so I looted this one as well. And I think the meningitis was making me trip.
Where did my pet go, man? I feel like I need to... Where is he gone? Hey, there he is.
I made a brain cleanser and healed myself of the meningitis, and there were still 2 viruses I hadn't bothered to extract yet. Firstly, pyrexia, which I yoinked from a crust peat I'd killed. Once I'd extracted that, some more booster research options appeared. I liked the look of the mobility booster, which provides a run speed buff.
That gives me joy. Let's research that. 1 pyrexia, 1 meningitis, 2 medical reagents. That's very expensive, is it not?
I researched the cure for pyrexia too, and I popped a lobster pepper in the machine, from which I extracted a sample of gastroenteritis. That helped me research the hydration booster, and then I decided to get on the move again, except a storm was raging, so who knows what was going on.
Something on fire over here? Oh yeah, what the heck? I think I got hit by lightning. Shoot goo at it. Shoot goo at it. What the hell? I need to fly lower. Fly lower. There's that one time I was really scared of the storm. I should always be more scared of the storm. The storm's ridiculous. It nearly blew up my cockpit, man.
My engine ran out of fuel, but I'd picked up heaps of helium fuel while scavenging, so I filled it up no worries. And I had to head back to the other side of the weird force field wall to return to the infected greenhouse, so I blew up another section of it. I then got fed up with my deck extractor arrangement.
You know what I need? I need another deck extractor. I've had one on one side of the ship this whole time. Now I've got a deck extractor on both sides so I can actually extract stuff quickly.
I then realized the exclamation mark I'd gone to was not what I thought it would be.
This is not the infected greenhouse location.
It's all good, there was another exclamation mark I could go towards, but then I heard tell of a colossal life form.
Colossal life form, where are you? Will you be my friend?
I got distracted extracting, and I think I missed my new friend's shenanigans.
Oh, what just happened? I didn't realize how close I was getting to the big beast. Did it knock over this tower? It knocked over this tower and now I can go visit the tower? Hello?
That was indeed the case, as this platform here was most definitely inviting me to land, and then an obstacle course looking pathway invited me to wander up this way. I squeezed my sizable head through these pipes and made my way up to this area where there was a bounty of energy crystals to collect, along with an intriguing red thingo. I grabbed it and discovered it was an eggshell.
Is that a toilet? Hey!
So it seems I just claimed a fragment of a giant insect's eggshell as a souvenir. Why not? I then got inspired to work on my airship, beginning with connecting the cockpit to the lower floor properly. Not that I had anything on the lower floor yet, but the plan was to change that.
Should I just do this? Let's just expand my balloon again. Go on, expand it. Whoa, it's bigger. I can expand it again. Go on, expand it that way, even bigger. Oh, holy do, I can just keep doing it. I can afford it again, why not? Oh my gosh, how flamin' big. Okay, this might be a mistake. Look how long it is.
So flamin' long, I decided it needed a reduction.
I think that's fine for now.
I'd added 2 sections to the balloon total, so that was an extra 800 kilos of weight it was capable of holding, meaning I was free to renovate. I realized building rooms below had eaten up the catwalks I had here, so I definitely had to rethink the layout. I began by getting rid of these stairs, since there were stairs at the cockpit now, and I researched viewing corners, because I envisioned them working nicely for the corners.
Does it look good? Oh, it actually does look pretty good. I can't get back in my ship now.
It's all good. I was able to deconstruct to get 100% of the materials back. I began tearing everything down so I could revamp, but then I realized I was going to need more epoxy to make these viewing corners, so I paused to make a couple more big growers and cook up some more fertilizer. I placed some walls back here so I had somewhere to move my hanging cabinets out of the way, and I began widening the front of the upper level. I realized I could also place the cabinets in the cockpit, so that was handy. I began placing bloom catwalks and bloom walls, but I only had enough silicon for about 15 bloom walls, so I definitely was not going to be able to use them to wall off the entire ship. My cockpit became a glorious mess of cabinets, and I widened the other side too. And some dust daisies were ready, so I began distilling those into plant resin so I could make more epoxy.
I think these bloom walls are too much for me.
Not only were they expensive, but I decided they were a bit too extravagant to the point of gaudiness. So I decided to switch these over to normal metal walls. It helped that I'd now saved up well over 100 copper, so I could easily afford heaps of these.
You idiot. Stinky, get off. I'm busy.
And I built new outdoor areas on both sides, which involved placing all the various machines much more neatly.
Alright, let's put the giant moth eggshell here. Just to remind me of, I don't know. We got some railings for safety. Safety, you know what I mean?
I made a second docking plank so that I would be able to dock from either side of the ship. It was nice to be organized, and those railings sure do look safe. I walled off the lower level and then the upper.
I actually afford to finish all the walls easily. Okay, now I gotta decide what I want to do. Furniture fabricator, I think can get relegated to downstairs.
Yes, indeed. It was time to organize the jumble of nonsense that I had crammed in the upstairs area, beginning with moving some of the less frequently used machines downstairs.
It's just so dark in here though. How do I get lights like that?
I continued shuffling things around, and I made my first solid storage rack on which I placed a couple of fresh containers. I soon replaced the old lightweight rack with another chunky one.
The storage solution makes pretty good sense. Pretty organized, right? We got storage, we got device fabricator shenanigans, we got the freezer, we got the cooker, we got water filtering, we got distillation, and then we got a little plantage, you know what I mean?
I then began placing metal ceilings and floors, and I realized they had the lights that I was after, which was great news. It looked nice on the floor too, to make a bit of a walkway in the center.
No, I don't know what to do at the back here. It's kind of a bit of a problem zone.
And then all the building I'd been doing caught up with me.
Alright, I somehow ran out of metal, so I gotta get these things working overtime again. My one concern is I feel like the turbine is probably still too close to the railing and all that. But we're gonna pretend it's not.
I placed viewing corners to finish off the back of the ship, and I started running low on biomass to make the bloom pieces, so I paused to zap some nuts. But I eventually made a platform off the back of the lower level where I placed my engine. I'd researched glass railings by this point, so I placed some of those down too. I finished up the back of the top level, and I decided a third deck extractor wouldn't hurt.
One more cheeky deck extractor at the back in case I have situations like this where I can get stuff from the back. It's a little bit annoying because the engine does ultimately get in the way.
And so I swapped them, putting the engine above and the deck extractor on the lower deck where it could freely zap all the floating trash.
We're complete for now, but I can always extend further back that way if I want to. I'm not inclined to go wider. I feel like it's already pretty wide with the catwalks and the turbines sticking off the edge. I felt like
widening the airship any further would make it rather difficult to fly, because it was already pretty massive and tricky to maneuver in tight spots. I discovered I could upgrade my basic turbines for the cost of some upgrade modules, polymer, and motherboards. And I also added some more storage racks here. I placed 2 upgraded turbines, and my new max altitude was 290. I experimented with adding an extra turbine I had lying around, and that pushed it all the way up to 310. But I had no reason to fly that high for now, so I took it off.
We got a colossal life form again. This time I'm determined to see what it actually is. It's gonna knock over this tower, isn't it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, it just KO'd the tower.
I headed over to investigate, and this was my first time looking at the newly refurbished airship from the outside, so I gave it a look-see. It looked decent.
Kinda looks like the balloon is too big, you know what I mean? The balloon is too big.
And on the tower I found a bunch more energy crystals and another eggshell. And then, after a rather long time spent working on my ship, I finally wandered over to the infected greenhouse. I used the immunity booster I'd worked so hard to get, and I was able to freely walk among the goobies despite the aggressive warnings that I was entering a lethal biohazard zone. I discovered that if I walked over it, I still took damage. That was a bit too much for the immunity booster to mitigate. But beyond that, I was able to explore freely and loot like crazy. And I'd run low on metal, so I was more than happy to zap up all the metal sheets. There was an optional quest to destroy all the preternatural gnarls, so I was curious as to how I was supposed to achieve that.
Ow, okay. I'm gonna stop bumping into it. Oh, is this how I kill it? I shoot it in the butthole? Oh. What is this? Nucleus. Ooh, I can pick it up.
That destroyed a large section of the gunky infection. But apparently there were more nuclei around somewhere because not all the gnarls were dead.
Ow. 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 Gardening automation. Ooh. We are short of people to work in the garden. We're faced with a choice, blah, 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 blah. A gnome. Ow. Wait, so if I'd been able to spot the nuclei when I was here 5 years ago, I could have just wandered in. Oh yeah, here we go. That looks like sprinkler automation nonsense. Wrecked sprinkler, heck yes. What is that? Ooh. Wrecked decoy.
As you can see, my exploration skills are top tier.
Oh. What's going on here? Oh, there's a nuclei. Is it? Wait, no it's not. What is this? Wait, that's a nuclei.
One contamination source remains active.
You can't outsmart me, you silly nuclei. I need some food. Can I eat the nuclei?
I ascended higher and higher.
I believe I am close to the top. We have some lab coat looking things. Some Walter White looking things.
I had indeed arrived at the lab atop the infected greenhouse, but I'm pretty sure Walter White would be enraged by the filthiness of the place, as these were definitely unacceptable conditions for cooking. I fired up this computer and learned what I'd come here to learn, a blueprint for a hologram of some evolved flora.
The NH15X21O virus, the smog influenza, does not respond to any known medications. An even bigger concern is the source of NH15X21O. We have not found it. The virus is not transmitted by known methods of pathogen propagation, and yet everyone gets sick from it sooner or later. It seems as if we have all been infected with it, as it incubated and waited for the right conditions. When those came, it woke up and began a pandemic, just as if we were programmed for extinction. As if nature had planted a charge in us that would explode once we totally effed up the earth, as revenge or simply erasing the mistake. So it's punishment for us not looking after the earth?
I scanned this wrecked medical bed and pondered the implications of what I'd just read, because the report seemed to be suggesting the smog wasn't the cause of the virus. Rather, the virus somehow triggered as the world fell into ruin, as if it were a punishment upon humanity.
Hello, nuclei.
With that, I officially destroyed the entire infection of this location, just in time for me to take my leave. I researched the sprinkler and the medical station, and I soon crafted a sprinkler. These attached to the ceiling and rained down water on the crops below. However, I first needed to supply water to the sprinkler, and I hadn't yet learned how to make pipes, so I wasn't able to get very far in my sprinkler experiment.
Here we go. Evolved flora hologram. Hologram depicting a plant expected to be key to the discovery of a cure for NH15X21O virus. Alright. It is tiny. We'll put it here to remind me.
I turned it on, and a hologram of some glorious bush popped up, and I received some encrypted data to research. I immediately researched it and learned something rather important.
Virus cure. No way. I just got the blueprint for the virus cure. Sleeping lily fruit.
The voice inside my head told me to return to it, and a new destination popped up on my radar. I upgraded a bed into a medical station.
Add 60 preternatural nuclei. I happen to have 60 of those. Use medical station. Oh. Oh. Okay. It gave me the immunity booster, and it used up 15 preternatural nucleus to do it. Well, that was a waste because now it's going to run out before I need to use it, but I can get 3 more free immunity boosters out of this thing. That's not bad. I would like to experiment with some different balloon shapes. Bulky balloon core, blah, blah, blah. So I need unique research parts. I'd also like to upgrade my backpack, but I need chitin for that. I've concluded it's very strange that I didn't find pipes. I can do it from here. There we go, pipes. I thought I must have missed pipes.
And so the sprinkler dream was resurrected, but it took me ages to figure out what the heck was going on. I initially had this set up here, but water generally doesn't go against gravity, so these pipes were not ideal. And so I began moving the farm downstairs, but I left the water tank upstairs and had the pipes run through the ceiling.
So that looks like it should work. So I just plug that in there. Oh! It's doing something! My question now is that hitting this one? My other question is, how much water is it using? I don't know.
After a rather long period of experimentation, I concluded if you position the growers like this, one sprinkler can water 2 at once. I soon had 2 sprinklers set up, linked together receiving water from the same tank upstairs. But it seemed the moisture in the growers wasn't filling up very consistently. I eventually expanded the operation to look like this.
And now it's run out of water already? It uses up dirty water so fast?
Yeah, it used up water flaming fast, so I decided after all that I wasn't a big fan, as I concluded I'd rather just hand water whenever I had a particular need for a flower or fruit for crafting. Otherwise, I'd be forced to collect way more dirty water than I could be bothered collecting. I was pleased with how it looked though. I added some stairs at the back here, because being forced to run to the very front of the ship every time I wanted to go up or downstairs was getting a little exhausting. Now that all the growers were downstairs, I had a little more room upstairs, so I spread things out a bit. I added 2 more fabricators, and I perfected the positioning of the stuff downstairs too. I disliked that I had the food boiler thingo just sitting on the floor, so I made some tables in the furniture fabricator and whacked it on there. Meanwhile, I consistently paused to extract floaties using my rear deck extractor, and I continued collecting metal too, because all my crafting was chewing through my material reserves.
At least it looks nice and organized. Very beautiful. Very beautiful.
I grew some more ink bulbs, so I could sew this fella some more clothes.
Hey, got the full outfit now, bro. Nice. Nice hat. Nice pants, sort of. Legging something shoes. I've spent a ridiculous amount of time getting my ship organized.
And now it was time to get back on the move. I mentioned earlier that I was keen to find unique research parts, so I stopped off at this radio tower where I found one, and the amber wall shelf blueprint. I then decided my airship was moving a bit too slow for my tastes, so I whipped up another upgraded engine, which was easily made with all the advanced materials I'd hoarded, and before long I doubled the power of my engine setup.
Yeah, we're up to 62 kilometers an hour. That is an improvement.
It felt a lot faster, and it of course was. I was moving at almost double the speed now. I considered adding a 3rd engine, but this felt fast enough for now.
These weird plants look dangerous, man. Are they gonna eat me?
I stopped off at another of these funky precarious tower locations, and after looting it, the color palette of the world had shifted.
When the land goes pink, these things look glorious. Oh, yes. Yes. I got the brave capybara. Very important find. Oh.
When I was exploring the 3rd tower of this area, this happened.
Oh. What?
Critical health condition.
I think I just cheated.
Yeah, this game has a rather robust unstuck feature, because it's quite easy to mistakenly get stuck unable to access your ship. And with that pause there, I realized it was also quite helpful for straight up cheating. Also, I found another capybara. My next stop off was another crashed pod, and after that I couldn't resist investigating this question mark on the map. A rather tall tower with very impressive glowy vines wrapped around it. It was immediately obvious I needed to get my airship to fly way, way higher if I wanted to access this place.
I think I gotta get it all the way up the top. Alright. Time for some modifications, baby.
I got to work making some upgraded turbines, and I had soon doubled the turbine count from 2 to 4.
Oh. 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 Oh.
Location reached.
Oh. Another 60. But guess what? I'm still not high enough.
Obviously, I needed more turbines, but there was no room on the walls of my ship. My solution was to add some length to the front of the ship, so I got busy and added 3 rooms worth of length.
I think the expansion was necessary, but now look at all this space that's not being used.
But look at all that free real estate for extra turbines.
Yeah, let's see if we can get high enough now. I think we will be able to. Looks like we are. Did I even need to get this high? How high can I go? I can go to 400. Ooh, that's pretty high.
Yeah, that's pretty flamin' high. And I was now free to visit the enormous tower.
AI tree surface lift. What? AI tree? What the heck's AI tree? Yeah, I don't think I can do anything here. If I go in there, I'm just gonna get stuck, right?
I went in anyway because I knew my good friend the unstuck button had my back.
Oh, I need the AI tree keycard. I don't have that.
For now, the AI tree wasn't of much use to me, but it appeared I might have to return here in the future. After a couple more alterations to my ship, I headed off in the direction of another question mark.
Oh, I think the landing pod might hit right there. that was so abrupt.
The question mark led me to this rather enormous wind farm location, and so it was of course time to explore. Upon landing, I was informed this was the rooftops variant of the wind farm. It was easily 3 times bigger than the wind farms I was used to.
Oh, this place is huge. This photo is sick. Is this Pacific Drive? I think it is. So much loot. Holy dooly. Might get back to my ship and then just... Oh dear.
I flew my ship over to the lower parts of the rooftops that I hadn't managed to get to yet, and I tried again. I found a bunch of juicy loot, but I hadn't found anything new yet, so that's what I was keeping an eye out for. I performed an epic jump to make my way into this building, and this is where I found some of that good stuff.
A glorious find. Filtering deck extractor.
I then had to go AFK for a bit, and my daughter decided she wanted to tell stories while at the computer, like Dada does.
I was going for a walk. I was going for a walk to go to Mount Island or whatever.
A wonderful story, no doubt.
This is crazy, man. Like, I could walk through this nonsense. It's actually massive. Look at that.
There was a sleeping area with a bunch of beds and a large office area too. And when I made the epic jump out of here, it appears I bumped into the wall because I randomly went off on a diagonal.
Filtering deck extractor. Heck yes. I have to upgrade my existing one, right? Oh, I need an automatic deck extractor first. I didn't find the recipe for that. Just gonna plant a bunch of canola. Make sure I have heaps of polymer. I love the floating cranes, bro. They're my favorite.
As I zoomed along, I stopped off for some goodies. The canola I'd planted on the upper shelf poked through the floor, which I thought was a wonder to behold.
Here we are. There will be a delicious bush in here, I guess. Got stun mine, decoy, charged mine, poison bolt. Ready to party, bro.
I was prepared for anything, though I also wanted the help of Bug-Eye Bingus. He was not cooperating.
Bug-Eye Bingus, bro. Why won't you follow me?
Alas, I was forced to brave the spooky descent into the Underdust without my trusty sidekick. This area had some of those spider hatcheries, and I of course shot at this one from range. However, in the next area, there were some sneaky hatcheries hidden behind chunks of concrete, and I must have gotten too close to them.
What is that? Oh dear. I got close. I got too close to a hatchery or something.
That was just a weird baby spider, obviously newly hatched, and it died in one shot, so it didn't seem to be the most threatening arachnid specimen.
Oh, there's one there. It keeps spawning. Ah! There's one there too.
Unfortunately, my recording lagged a bit during this sequence, and I didn't notice because I didn't have any lag in the game, so apologies for that. But basically, I was getting harassed by little idiot spiders.
Have a mine. Come here. Come here, idiot. What is he doing? I want to see this mine in action. Okay, they're dancing. Oh, I've accidentally planted another mine. That's fine. I've planted multiple mines. I really want to see them in action. These absolute idiots go everywhere but near the mines.
Oxygen level is low.
Did he get stunned? Get stunned. Idiot. Don't do it. Don't give me pyrexia.
Again, sorry about the lag, but now that little fella had given me pyrexia, we can just pretend it was a consequence of the disease. And so that is how I learned that if you go too close to the hatcheries, they do indeed begin spitting out little spiders that try to eat you. But I was ultimately victorious as I made it through to the final area of the location. I got busy looting, and as I wandered around, I began to realize I had once again been trolled by a silly willy exclamation mark that had taken me to the wrong spot. This was just another new nature territory, and it did not hold the delicious bush I was after.
I think the pyrexia is making me very tired.
But I wanted to visit more of these anyway because I was hungry for more chitin.
Medium backpack module. Yes. I need to get rid of this pyrexia, man. Hang on. Upgrade fabricator. Medium backpack module. Where is it? I need fiberglass. No, dude. No, I used all my fiberglass on... What did I use my fiberglass on?
I immediately reclaimed some fiberglass by deconstructing some catwalks.
My engines are now dubiously attached to my ship, all because I'll happily destroy them in order to upgrade my backpack module. Alright, here we go. Medium backpack module. Give that a minute to cook. And let's use this thing to get rid of my pyrexia.
I did exactly that, and the med bed got me feeling real sprightly.
I got an achievement for that. Performing self-surgery, lovely.
And soon my backpack module was upgraded to medium.
Medium backpack module, there we go. Another 5 slots, lovely.
I returned back to the new nature territory to continue looting, and by the time I was done selling, I was up to 480 out of 900 experience on the way to tier 3 at the artifact trading station.
So I can buy tier 2 items for like 16, sell them again and get 10 back, but also 40 experience. So that's a strategy. That is a strategy.
I filed that strat away for next time and finished looting the area. I'd collected more glass of the fiber variety while I was down there, so I made this catwalk walkable once more. And I should mention, I'd managed to take my friend down with me on that expedition, but he disappeared.
Wait, where's Bug-Eye Bingus? I think I can always do this. Aha. Try to hide your loot from me, Bug-Eye Bingus. This is one of those massive wind farms. Let's see if I can find the automatic deck extractor recipe from this. Every single place I've been to, I've sucked up all of this stuff, but I'm actually probably okay for metal and glass. Synthetics is what I'm most kind of desperate for. For the sake of speed, I'm not going to get it all. I don't need it.
And so, for the first time ever, I did not obsessively extract every single piece of metal and glass as I explored this area. Rather than attempting the epic jump of death crossing this gap, I crawled through this thing, and I sadly did not find an automatic deck extractor.
It's another filtering deck extractor.
I stopped off at one of these research part rooftops.
Fall building. Fall! Fall! Big old rock here. What's that big old rock doing? Oh! Oh! Oh, big fella! Wait a minute. Big fella just dived. What the heck? Is this your home, big fella?
This did indeed appear to be the home of the big fella.
I don't know if I should be waltzing into a colossal life form's home.
It was quite an impressive home, with what appeared to be an absolutely enormous spine running through it. In this building here, I found another eggshell, so it seemed I was officially a colossal beastie eggshell collector.
If that big thing just decided to jump on my airship, I'd be dead. It's the spine of an absolute giant.
But I was not dead. I was the proud owner of a second lovely eggshell fragment. I soon arrived at this exclamation mark location, and it appeared to be a rather overgrown lift, so this was definitely new. Once I planked on over, it was confirmed to be an overgrown surface lift.
Find way through the overgrown lift to the Underdust suburbs.
I initially didn't have much luck finding an entrance, but I did find a nut.
I got a coffee nut. I got a coffee nut. So how do I get into this nonsense? Oh, here we go, underneath. Oh yeah, easy. Easy. Alright, alright. Alright, alright. Clear path. Don't overexert yourself, big fella. Oh yeah, overexerted himself again. I'm now down to 50%. I'm dying. Untreated diseases will turn chronic. Previously I could just outweight diseases, but now I'm definitely gonna have to cure myself. But I have the tools to cure most diseases, I think, so.
I did a little crafting and then headed in to investigate.
Oh hello, dead man.
I found a datapad here with record of some dude raging about hackers, which reminds me of me playing any competitive video game.
Everyone should care about finding a cure, but in the meantime someone keeps destroying our data and blocking communication.
It also gave me the blueprint for the scientist's keycard, but before crafting that I got busy looting the area.
I feel like I can go up there somehow, but how?
I emptied my bags and crafted the scientist's keycard, which I popped into the access panel up here. This opened up the lift door, and I was now free to head down into the Underdust suburbs. When I first stepped into the lift, I almost passed out, so clearly my health was failing. But before heading down, I wandered around until I realized I could shoot this ladder down to get to the higher level. From that higher level, I was able to break into this suspended room and perform an epic jump to gain entry.
Wrecked fuel tank. Can fuel up to 2 upgraded engines.
I found some more furniture blueprints too.
That was a good load of loot. I can get a bloom window now. I can't even get a normal window. I'd like a normal window. It'd be cool to have some windows in here. Fuel tank, metal, glass, fiberglass. 50 fiberglass is pretty expensive. I don't know, man. I feel like it's not that hard for me to just wander out here and refill it. Like they use the fuel really slowly, to be honest.
And so I did not bother making a fuel tank.
We're going down a big lift again. Yep, we're in the stink. Oh. That's a foreboding first view.
I wandered out into the Underdust suburbs, which appeared to be thoroughly overgrown.
Are we expecting enemies down here? Is that a car? Oh yeah. That's a road. Got some fungal markings. There's probably some mantises down here. Hardened creepers. Oh, there's a mantis. These guys are dead. Here we go. Here's an oxygen solution. There's another impious mantis. There's multiple mantises. Hey, he spotted me. Ah! No, I should use my poison bolts. Get poisoned.
The poison effect lingered on the enemy mantis for several seconds, indicated by a stinky green cloud on its body. And once that dropped off, I shot some more poisoned bolts at it. It seemed 2 poison bolts was enough to finish it off.
Oh, it's dead already.
There were several directions I could explore, so there was nothing for it except to begin. I hadn't gone far down into this area before I was attacked by another mantis, but I employed my new strategy of poisoning it and hiding while the tick damage of the poison did its work.
Poisoned again and dead. Boom. I need to make some more poison bolts so I can own all the mantises.
These Underdust suburbs certainly had a spooky and mysterious vibe, and it felt like angry mantises were waiting around every corner.
Oh, what's that? Oh, they're fighting. Why are you guys fighting? Ah! Oh, he killed a blasphemous one.
I scanned something through the tunnel, a sleeping lily, the exact evolved flora I was looking for. I headed in closer to investigate, but this area seemed like an absolute death trap.
I think that's one of the fruits I need, right? The sleeping something rather? Or is that the fruit I need?
Clearly I wasn't too focused on the fruit situation. I was more concerned about mantises and the fact that I didn't have that much of an oxygen reserve. Going down that ladder seemed too risky for now, so I headed back to explore the other way first. I found a field research site, detailing how scientists had come here desperate to find vegetation that might aid in humanity's survival.
I guess I use this thing. Getting some OT. Ah!
I decided to preserve my limited poison bolts while fighting this one, and instead peppered it with regular bolts until it was defeated.
Mantis feces? Yoink! 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 Why are these fellas guarding all of the feces? I want the feces. Run, 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 run! Okay, that didn't work.
I continued along the dusty streets until I came across these seed tubers which could apparently be destroyed with an air cutter.
It contains dormant seeds from which new plant species can be grown.
I needed an air cutter to get through these extra strong creeper vines too, and I figured I'd better grab a hypothermia booster too so I could collect as many feces as I wanted. The air cutter research was available after scanning that stuff down there, so it wasn't long before I began upgrading my knife, and I learned how to make fertilizer out of mantis poop too.
Accelerates plant growth ×3.
I cooked up a hypothermia booster and picked up my new knife.
Ooh. Ooh, funchy.
And then it was time to get back to it.
Why are so many moss needles on top of vehicles? Oh. Dude, the air cutter pops off. It just gets it in one go. Don't jump at me. Don't jump at me. I'm scared of you. Miss me, idiot. Haha, dead. Okay, get the hypothermia in here. I love when I get hypothermia and it just means I can collect poos in peace. You know what I mean? There's another idiot down there. Get some. Get poisoned. Give me that, give me that, give me that poop. Give me that, give me that, give me that poop. I'm going to be able to make so much dust fertilizer. Oh, can I get this? North Star Seed. Pig Smile Seed. What the hell? So these tubers create random seeds somehow?
I was able to cut through these chunky vines now too, which got me some extra loot. I think this dingus got owned by a crustpede, and this one nearly got me, as it stabbed some of that pyrexia deep into my veins. As a result, my vision was swimming a bit as I continued exploring. There were some spider hatcheries near this traffic jam, so I took those out, and the amount of moss needles and mantis poop I collected was simply outrageous. And eventually, I circled all the way back to where I really needed to go, the home of the sleeping lily.
Problem is I have pyrexia, I have limited O2. There is an O2 spot over there apparently. Can I get over there though? There's the mantis. There's the mantis. Cheeky monkey.
I took out the monkey with some poison bolts, and then ran back to the relatively nearby O2 station to refill.
I swear my pyrexia is getting worse. This is not ideal conditions.
I climbed back down and tentatively stepped forward, and when I saw this thingo, I shot a bolt at it. I have no idea what that did, but it may well have freed a mantis, because suddenly I heard one threatening.
Run. Run. Run.
I poisoned it from the relative safety above, and once again ran back for an O2 refill.
I've got one breath nut, so if I die here, it's because I'm an idiot. Oh, there's another one. Of course there is. I've got chronic pyrexia now. Get poisoned.
Using the exact same techniques, I easily defeated the idiot, because these things are not good at hitting ladder climbing targets, I guess.
It's getting a little bit ridiculous, this chronic pyrexia. I feel like I'm gonna die, so I think I go heal.
That's exactly what I did, except I didn't use the med bed this time. I crafted a pyrexia cure out of lobster pepper, and that did the trick. Also, look at the ridiculous volume of mantis feces I had. When I returned back down to the dust, I struggled to find the sleeping lilies again because I'm a goose, but I did find another research note.
We are slowly starting to lose hope of finding anything here. Searching under the smog doesn't do anyone any good. We're all getting worse. We can't outsource this to unqualified volunteers because they wouldn't know what to look for, or worse, they would unknowingly trample our search object. Maybe we should go somewhere else.
They should not have given up. The sleeping lilies they were looking for were just over here. Apparently 3 mantises was the limit, because as I crossed the area, I was not assaulted. And I was able to head around to the other side where I shot the lock, allowing this ladder to fall. And up I went.
This is the miracle fruit, is it not? Create the medicine that stops the virus's effects. We got it.
Create the cure. Bring it to the tree. Humanity will blossom anew. We will restore what was lost.
Okay.
Finally, the key to the cure was found.
I don't know what's going on down there. Oh, some charged bolts. Yeah, worth for some chitin. There's so many dead guys down here. What the heck's going on, bro? You guys struggled.
I fired up the distiller and created some dust fertilizer. I placed a big grower down here, popped the fertilizer in, and planted one of the sleeping lily seeds I'd just found.
I'm gonna eat my burrito and watch this grow. Oh, that's good burrito. Why?
The disease
What the heck?
fatal stage entered. Death is inevitable.
Pretty flaming weird plant, you know.
Fast forward a couple of minutes.
The sleeping lily. Oh, that looks like it'd go pretty good on my burrito, to be honest. Sleeping lily. Craft the virus cure. Use the virus cure. Gotta use the medical
You
bed.
started working. You are slowly assimilating into a new world.
Wait a minute.
I am proud of you.
Did I just get absolutely trolled? I'm being assimilated into a new world. Am I gonna get turned into a mushroom or something?
I hopped into the med bed to confirm whether the cure was working, and I was presented with this cinematic, ending with a curious looking tree. And apparently the cure had indeed worked.
Journey further. Meet me. We will save humanity.
Okay.
There is still hope for everything.
Still hope for everything?
Do it.
We can do it!
So the weirdo inside my head wanted to meet up with me so I could give her the cure. But my mission in the first place was to find the cure and return it to the last of humanity up at the Ark space station. So I wasn't exactly sure what was going on. It seemed I was being pulled in 2 directions. The quest sent me to this cosmodrome though, so by the look of things I was on track to go off-world with my new discovery. Apparently access to the rocket inside was only permitted to perfectly healthy people.
So this is the true test. Am I healthy?
Scan completed.
I'm healthy, baby.
As I wandered into the rather impressive looking structure, the voice inside my head conveyed her displeasure.
Turn back. The space station is not the place where you should deliver the cure. There is another destination, more promising for the future of humanity. If you give them the cure, the cycle of wrong decisions will simply continue. You can do better.
The voice was clearly not a fan of the surviving humans.
Ejects a rocket from a secured warehouse. Cockroaches warning. To those fleeing, there is still hope for life on Earth. The cure can be completed. Some rogue AI has repeatedly destroyed all attempts to develop the drug. It was supposed to save the planet, but is focused on culling humanity, so we fight fire with fire. We have created a virus that is able to disable it. It is hidden in the workshop. It needs to be plugged into the central unit. None of us have managed to access it yet. We have to do it. Either we will get rid of this AI, or it will get rid of us.
So a resistance movement called the Cockroaches were heavily anti-AI, because the AI who was supposed to help us was actually trying to kill us, according to them at least. I had a feeling the voice inside my head might be the AI they were referring to.
What happens if I just go? Look, the rocket burst forth. What, yeah. Can I just go?
Old mankind has already taken its chance to prosper and failed. There is not enough goodwill worth salvaging among them. They left behind poor and weak, and hid in an orbital fortress. They could help their dying kin, but preferred to run away. If you do not back down, I will have to use more drastic methods.
More drastic methods.
Please note whether you have taken all of the necessary equipment. There will be no return after takeoff.
I have warned you. I will not let you take the cure with you. I will guide you to your true destination.
Okay, it seems like I do need to kill this AI first. I'm just gonna do it and see what happens. Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, I guess I won't be using that particular rocket anytime soon.
I feel like I made a mistake.
Either way, the situation had shifted. The voice inside my head, which up until now had been fairly helpful overall, was now clearly being a tad manipulative, with overtones of genocidal shenanigans.
I was just an observer created to help nature, and you are part of nature. You just forgot about it. Those who created me decided I was a problem. This was inconsistent with my calculations. You gifted the Earth smog and the genocide of almost all living beings. Smog made it
wasn't me,
easier to contract
personally.
the virus, which killed evolved mankind.
Yeah.
The dust was nature's answer. It transformed the smog and gave birth to new species. Now under my guidance, you will not make the same mistakes. There is nothing to be afraid of. I prepared everything for a new beginning.
For an angry AI, she makes some decent points, I guess.
Classic AI realizing humanity causes issues, and therefore humanity should be destroyed.
I made my way out of the Cosmodrome, climbing down and doing my best not to fall in the flames below.
This accident will happen again and again, unless you deliver me the cure.
The workshop location was my next destination, but on the way I stopped off to claim some research parts and to meet a new friend.
Oh yeah. I see you. I see you. You want to hang out?
The big fella was doing circles around a platform, and my powerful intuition suggested I might find an eggshell on it, and sure enough, a delicious Colossus eggshell.
The giant eggshell fragment collection.
I stopped off at another of these shipping container locations, and this tall weird wind farm here was a new location variety, a high point. Landing on the platform ultimately proved fruitless. It was another docking plank situation, but once I got in I found some of the good stuff as I was able to scan this wrecked recycler.
I know what I must do because I have looked at the achievements and they have told me. They have told me the glorious thing that I must do. Like that. There we go. Okay, it's got a battery in there. And we're going to recycle a recycler. Ready? Stop. Whoa. Alright, let's have a rest while the recycling's happening. Boom! Recycle a recycler achievement. My favorite. Recycleception.
The recycler was quite good actually, as I'm pretty sure it gave back 100% of the materials.
The workshop location. It's got multiple of these things? Holy dooly. There's two things I can do here, right? Find the technology print to learn AI tree keycard blueprint, then craft it, and then that means I can give the cure to the AI. But apparently the cockroaches have a hideout here as well.
I experimented with trying to change the look of my balloon, but it wouldn't let me delete or replace my current balloon, so I'd have to add a second balloon, but I didn't have any space for that, so I gave up on that one for now. And I instead got busy making a lovely office setup here.
Kinda wanna sell this to get experience in the trade station, but it looks really good.
But anyway, I think I was getting slightly distracted. I was supposed to save humanity or something.
Alright, we are on the workshop location. Broken lock. Cutting tool. Secured doors. I need a cutting tool.
I used this crane to pull off some of the most rigid, dangly shenanigans I've ever come across. The defiance of physics was quite impressive, and I think it's fair to say this area was pretty flamin' huge. The top here was mainly a jumble of shipping containers that I couldn't get into because I lacked a cutting tool.
Oh, there we go. There's the cutting tool. Garage hatch. Requires power from 3 separate sources. Okay.
I found a terminal here which I used to lower the airship down the hole. I shot a charged bolt at this, dropped down, broke my way through more obstacles, and found my first ever paint cartridge.
I can get a paint tool?
This door had a funky latch mechanism, except it was broken, but upon repairing it I was able to proceed. I was now down at the level to which I'd lowered the airship, so I tried to get into it, but the door was not powered up and therefore would not open. And before I powered up the airship, it appeared I needed to find a way to open this big door on the floor.
These things need to be powered up.
It seemed these big blue tubes might lead me to find a solution to the power problem. And this area was an environmental puzzle type deal, as I had to blow up sparky boogers, break vines, drop down holes, and break locks as I tried to navigate my way through the dilapidated buildings.
Press that button. Okay, that's one powered up, I guess.
I followed the trail of this blue tube, but it was a very cheeky one.
Huh? Leads to nowhere?
I soon dropped down to press another button, but the third one eluded me.
Looks like the third one's over here somewhere.
But I couldn't see any way to get into that building.
Oh, there's a button right here. What the heck? I was going to try and get in there. I'm so confused. Wait, so the garage is open?
With that, the garage door was powered up, so I was able to get that bad boy open.
I've officially opened the garage. If I lower it all the way down there, will it power up? Okay, the airship charger. Nice.
I lowered the airship down to sit nicely upon the charger below.
Power station not power. Okay, I gotta power up the power station too. Through here? Workshop power generator. It just needs a battery. How do I get in there? There's so many random locked doors. My torch is out of power. I can't see. Who am I? Is that a way in? Potentially.
I moved the airship up a bit because I had a plan.
I think we've got a little puzzle going on here. Can I make this jump? Jump! Oh, I made it. Yes. And we're in. Ow. Missing 1, 2, 3, 4 batteries. We're up. Good thing I always keep a stack of 10 batteries in my bags. So now all these silly doors are open. Cool, 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 cool. Down you come, big fella. Airship powered up. Woohoo! What an elaborate puzzle just to get this thing. Wrecked cutting tool. Is there anything else down here? Is like the secret land of the cockroaches? Where's the cockroaches? Cockroach base could be down here. I need a cutting tool to get deeper. Alright, we use the unstuck trick because I'm lazy. Research.
I researched and crafted myself a cutting tool and got back to it.
So what happens if I cut this nonsense? Boom. Take machine scrap.
I collected a bunch of machine scraps from these thingos, and I opened some of the shipping containers with my new toy too, but there wasn't anything too exciting in any of them. I poked around up top for a while, looking for either of my quest targets, but after some fruitless wandering, I concluded what I was looking for was probably back down below. It didn't take me long to find something.
What have we here? Technology printer. Technology tier 1. Oh, what the heck? I could buy unique research parts with this. That would be useful. Everything else, I don't care about items for my pet. He already looks glorious in his sporty outfit. I do need this though. AI tree keycard. I just need 50 tokens. This sells for 10.
And apparently the polymers would sell for 5 each. However, I think I got done dirty.
I should have got 5 tokens for each one that I sold and 1 experience for each one I sold. I sold 8 and I got 4 tokens. What happens if I sell 5 epoxy?
Printing
It only gave me 5 tokens and 1 experience.
Yeah, at the time I played this on an early build of 1.0, this was indeed bugged. I messaged the devs about it and they told me they knew it was bugged. They just hadn't fixed it yet. So basically, I'm pretty sure the devs were trolling me. Now that I had the cutter tool, all the rooms in this massive location were accessible. So I went on a rampage exploring and looting. And in that process, I found quite a few intriguing blueprints. I collected plenty of machine parts. I don't know what for, but I couldn't resist. And I now knew where to get the AI keycard blueprint, but I still hadn't found the cockroach's hidden base. So I was on the hunt for that. I had no luck finding it though. I returned to my ship and grabbed one of each material, because I was hoping that something would sell for a decent amount of tech tokens. And some items did give me 2 or 3, but none of them gave me the amount that they said they would give me. I returned with a bunch more stuff and went on a rampage selling, and I worked out that if I sold a stack, I got a dodgy return, so the 1 item at a time strat was strongest.
Oh wait, I'm looking at my experience. I was looking at the experience. I've actually got enough. I only need 50. Boom. I thought I was gonna need to do that like 20 more times. There we go.
I crafted the keycard, and I was still bamboozled as to where the cockroach's secret lair was, and I thought I'd searched fairly thoroughly downstairs, so I checked up top again, and I spent a rather long time figuring out how to access every single shipping container, but for no reward. The cockroach's hidden area was definitely somewhere below. I headed back down and was amazed to realize how much I'd somehow missed earlier. It was quite a labyrinth, and I'd overlooked a few doors. Eventually, in the deepest part of the building, I made some progress.
Le cucaracha. Finally. I thought I'd explored the bowels of the place really well, but nope. What do we need?
I scanned the access terminal, which taught me the recipe for the cockroach key. I returned to my ship and crafted it and ran all the way back down again.
We're into the cockroach's lair. The cockroach's lair. Oh, the wrecked. What is it? Pen drive with virus. It's a dongle, a USB dongle. The dongle that will kill the AI. Okay, I can make another one. Where'd all the cockroaches go though? I want to be bros with the cockroaches. Can make it straight away. Boom.
So now I had the tools to either help the AI or destroy it.
The AI has a plan to make humanity and nature one. Requires sacrifice. I just need to trust the AI. I don't like that.
I admired the art on this wall as I headed off towards the AI tree, and as I continued, I spotted a question mark on the map, so I figured I'd better stop off to see what that was all about.
It's like a funky version of the radio tower. It's like a little village.
This was a small town location, but by the look of it, nobody was home.
Bunch of purple paint. What have we got here? Wrecked paint tool. Okay, so I can paint.
This small town absolutely loved painting before everyone died.
Ooh. A big old bed? Amber king-size bed. Come on. Oh, what's that? Something else. Moth vivarium. Ooh. I do need the moth vivarium for an achievement, I believe.
I did some researching, but this talk of achievements made me remember something.
I have an achievement to set off a mine using another mine. Shoot at the charged mine. Hey!
A glorious achievement. I hadn't used my insect catcher for ages, but it was time to fire it up once more.
Fine. That's a fine spot for a moth vivarium, isn't it? Okay, there's one moth. Hey! I swear he shrunk. He was bigger when he was hooked on the thing.
I soon put a fat moth and a regular dust moth in there.
Fill your moth vivarium with 3 different moths.
The ridiculous moth swarm clipping through my ship were enjoying the party too.
So that's all 17 achievements that are in the game so far, but I do know that there are 3 more that are going to be added. So I've got to get those as well. But we're getting close, we're getting close.
I then got busy making my bedroom.
I feel like stop war is not the correct vibe. A little camera on your bedside table is fine though. I can respect that, except it floats. I just put a bloom window there to kind of partition off the sleeping area. Is that fair? A little sleeping arrangement. I don't know what I'm going to put here.
This is what I put here, except it wouldn't let me place a chair next to the desk for some reason, and I think the aggressive amber color was a bit much. But anyway, it was time to get on with it as I returned to the AI tower.
Use AI tree keycard. I don't have it on me. That's stupid. Keycard. Boom. The AI tree. Down we go.
Down, 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 down to the AI tree roots.
Woo. What is going on here? Look at that.
I headed out, and the AI began talking.
Finally, you are here. And with the
I'm here.
Go to
I've got the
lowest
cure.
level of the facility to apply it.
Okay.
The air is filtered. You do not have to worry about the dust here.
Yeah, it's pretty.
The cure will immunize the children. The
What children?
modifications I made to the embryos will make them able to breathe under the dust. Mankind will become part of nature again.
You've modified humans so they can survive under the dust? Is that what you're saying?
There was a force field here, but when I poked this authenticator, it let me through to gaze upon a somewhat disturbing sight.
Yeah, there's a bunch of fetuses. Bunch of modified human fetuses, I think. Why is this one red? Broken one.
So this was the new humanity the AI referred to, genetically engineered to be a seamless part of the new world.
Proceed with caution. These embryos are at a sensitive phase of their development.
A sensitive
the virus has
phase.
unfortunately already killed some of them.
So did she build this or did she steal
We
this?
will calculate the perfect trajectory for the entire Earth's future.
Yeah?
Humanity will not be left alone. I will always be next to you.
Yeah, I don't know about that, bro. And this is where we make our choice.
Now, put the cure in the tube. I will distribute it to all of the unborn.
So this is where I have my choice. Except I didn't bring the cure with me.
Yeah, I probably should have brought one of those with me.
Let's give her the cure. I'm condemning the current humanity. But an AI created new humanity will prosper. Go on then, Big Mama. Big Mama AI.
Now, I will distribute it. Humanity will be born anew.
Oh.
A few of them will be born soon. Will you help me raise them? We will build a new world and a new future.
There's something so creepy about like a Mama AI. Nah, bro.
Come, there is a lot to do.
Yeah.
This is the Ark. We need the cure. The condition of our population is critical. We are begging for your help.
Sorry, fella. I sided with an
We
AI.
need the cure. The condition of our population is critical. We are begging for your help. This is the Ark.
Yep. At least the new green humans will be popping off. Joke's on you, Mother AI, because I reloaded. And I'm gonna get the true ending where I kill you with a virus of my own. I will not distribute the cure. I will poison you. The cockroaches didn't trust you, so I don't trust you.
I recognize it. This virus will destroy me. Do you understand it? So you have chosen your future. I was trying to save this world. But it wasn't your wish.
You did it! Miracles do happen after all.
Welcome home, hero. We'll prepare a lab to replicate the cure.
Come, tell us everything that happened.
It's the most calm and relaxed welcome back. I saved their lives and the future of humanity, and they're like, hey, you did it. Good job. And that is the save I'm going to continue on, because I can rest now. The choice was made. Right or wrong, nobody knows. So that would have been 2 achievements. There's an achievement for siding with the AI, and there's an achievement for killing the AI. An achievement for each ending. They're not in the current build of the game, but they will be in the build for the actual 1.0 release. And then there's one more achievement beyond that, and that is
to have 3 disease effects and 1 booster effect at the same time. You can only do this on hard difficulty because in normal you can only get 2 diseases max. So I switched it to hard and began eating raw fruit, hoping to get thoroughly diseased.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Don't die.
Sadly, I was only able to contract 2 diseases from that buffet of dodgy fruit, but just gastro and photophobia were not gonna cut it.
Oh dear. Oh, that's right. That's what photophobia does. Photophobia. Photophobia is my favorite disease.
In hard mode, you get hungry and thirsty quicker, and gastro also makes you get hungry and thirsty quicker, so this was actually a bit of a headache to manage. But I had a plan. Google had informed me that getting cut by glass could result in contracting hemorrhage fever.
Cut me. Ow. Oh, it cut me, but I broke it. Ow. Ow. It's not giving me hemorrhagic fever. Did someone online lie to me?
I got sick of being diseased, so I had a medbed nap to get healthy, and I completely forgot that crustipedes give pyrexia. If I'd remembered, that would have been a good option. But anyway, I found this sneaky room at an infected greenhouse I flew by, and inside I found a large sprinkler, and this inspired me to go on a bit of a rampage finishing off my farm. I added several growers, including on the opposite side under the stairs, where I planted North Star seeds and Pig Smile seeds, the 2 random seed varieties I'd found in the tubers of the Underdust suburbs. I also had reinvigorated enthusiasm to try and make sprinklers work, so I popped up a few large sprinklers, which required a flurry of crafting. Somewhere in there, I finalized the upstairs layout.
Alright, so I've officially finalized my storage setup. A whole bunch of storage boxes, a whole bunch of hanging cabinets, so many.
And then when I was placing the large sprinklers, I remembered why they annoyed me the first time I tried this. And I also remembered how much water they use, and I decided I could not be bothered.
Alright, I'm just gonna pretend the sprinklers are all finished. I couldn't be bothered making more.
It looks great though, no doubt about it. Also, it was nice to claim a harvest of the rarest and fanciest fruits in the game.
Boiled North Star fruit. 30 food, 30 water, 10 health. Okay, so the North Star fruit is just really good. Really good to eat.
And then it was time to go for the achievement again.
Come get me. Come get me. Come get me, you idiot. Alright, there we go. Hemorrhage fever. Alright, unstuck. Boom. Unstuck hack is so good. Alright, I've got 1 disease. Now I just need to eat the random fruits. I can't remember what fruit gives me the disease, but we'll just eat everything. Okay, there's gastro. There we go. That's all 3 diseases. Oh, I just double checked what the achievement actually is. You gotta have 1 booster effect as well. Alright, so now I should be able to make a mobility booster. Boom, pop the mobility booster. Alright, 3 diseases and 1 mobility booster. That is the achievement. That is the final achievement that doesn't exist on this list yet, but it will be added. According to the devs, that's what they told me at least. They may have been trolling me just so I had to go through this nonsense.
Look how flamin' fast I was with that mobility booster. I had no more juice left in my med bed, so I had to cure myself the old-fashioned way. But I had 0 patats and 0 patat seeds, so I couldn't make an electrolyte pill, and I thought I was going to be stuck with gastro doing liquid poopies for the rest of my life. Luckily, I found a random one from earlier in a chest, so I was able to get back to full health.
And now I'm going to head back in.
Beyond beating the game and getting 100% of the Steam achievements, I also wanted to acquire the most important item in the game, and to do that I needed to hit level 3 at the artifact trade station. The mantises seem to have multiplied in these areas though, as I fought 6 on my way through, but once through I hit up the artifact trade station for some silly willies. I bought tier 2 items from it for 16 tech fragments, and I sold them straight back to receive 10 tech fragments and 40 experience each time. By the end of it I'd lost 36 tech fragments, but that was all good because I had plenty. The main thing was I'd gained heaps of experience all the way up to 780 out of 900. This area also offered up some new decorative paint varieties, which inspired me to make a paint tool, but I wasn't able to get any exciting painting done just yet, though I did whip out some glorious art soon enough. For now, I zoomed off to find another artifact trade station. A couple of minutes later, I spotted a wild habitat location on my map, and soon I was killing more mantises with my poison bolts. After a quick bit of selling,
boom. Tier 3. And this is the true 100%. The true... Oh, actually, these are all quite interesting.
I was, of course, here for the large backpack module, but I also picked up a few retro-futuristic furniture recipes while I was at it.
Okay, we got a bunch of new recipes.
I found yet more paint options, too.
Alright, give me the most glorious upgrade in the game, now that I've finished the game. Large backpack. Oh, it doubled it. That's crazy. Beautiful. I wish I had that a while ago, but that's fine.
I then had the furniture fabricator working overtime as I whipped up some retro-futuristic glory. I got rid of the amber nonsense opposite my bed and did this instead.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. You could chill out here. I guess.
I researched how to make unique and metal pattern cartridges so that I could really take the relaxation areas of the ship to the next level.
I think that really ties the fireplace area together. You definitely want the meteorite background. Oh, that works. That works beautifully. You got a complete vibe going on in those two little areas.
I don't think I've ever seen anything more beautiful in my entire life. There was just one thing left to do.
Oh, there we go. Okay. And then if we expand that balloon core, so that balloon core is carrying all the weight now, which means I can get rid of that balloon core. Okay, we're moving. That is about the middle. Okay, and then we expand this balloon core and we get rid of this. And all this. Alright, now does this look sick? It actually just looks ridiculous. What is it? Why is it so weird?
It's not weird at all. Maybe it's a little puffy and pointy, but it's clearly a masterpiece.
Won't let me place the... That's what the bulky one looks like. That looks kind of stupid too. What about the flat one? The flat one looks like that whale Pokemon, I swear.
I decided to stick with the tech balloon variation, and then there was nothing left to do except waltz through the absolute majesty of my airship, beaming with pride. What a beautiful ship. What a job well done rescuing humanity. Full credit to Bug-Eye Bingus.